What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cold Blooded Talks podcast. Let's see, we got Christopher in the chat. What's going on, brother man? How you doing? I'll get your shirt sent out this week. Had some setbacks with the Cricut and making them, but I think I got it adjusted and right. I'm not a crafts person or a shirt maker by trade. I fix stuff. That is my forte. But nevertheless, let's see. We got 8 people watching. Michaela, what's going on? Lekka, how's it going? Appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and bring our guests on. Tonight we have Seth with Bankrupt Reptiles. So y'all do me a favor, help me welcome him to the stream. What's going on, brother man?
Hey, how's it going?
Going good, man. Going good.
Good.
Living and well. So I guess we're just gonna start out by kind of giving you the floor to introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Seth. Kind of started this thing really for my son. He got us into it. He wanted a pet snake about 2 years ago. My wife and I were like, absolutely not. No,
Right.
You're not getting one. And he was kind of persistent about it. So we told him, look, if you kind of throw together a PowerPoint showing what a snake needs as far as habitat,
Oh man, a
enclosure,
PowerPoint.
all that, yeah.
Nice.
Then we'll consider it. So he throws together like this 10-slide PowerPoint, more work than he's ever really put into anything.
Right.
So we're like, all right, we kind of felt obligated at that point.
Right.
And so we ended up going to PetSmart, buying this little, $80 normal, and we had it for about 3 weeks, and each time we fed it, it ended up regurgitating. So we took it back to PetSmart, and a buddy of mine was like, hey, there's this woman local who actually breeds snakes, and he was like, I can give you her info if you're interested. If you're interested. I was like, definitely. So I called her, and she was like, yeah, bring your son over. And it was Alyssa with Full Throttle Reptiles. So my son and I, we go over to her house, and she shows them some hatchlings, and then she pulls out Tony, which actually, it's easy for me to get him right here. Tony, who's our first snake. He's a super blade pet clown. He started it all.
Heck yeah,
and,
man. That's awesome. So you're close to her? To
Alyssa, yeah.
So that's awesome. You're in Tennessee?
Yeah, Chattanooga area.
Awesome. Well, you ain't far from me then. I'm in Kentucky.
Okay.
Right up the road. Winchester, Kentucky is where I'm at. But sorry about that. I was probably distracting, but GP said clean my lens, and I think it was a little dusty. Am I lagging? I feel like I'm lagging. Like I can see myself lagging a little bit, which is weird because I'm connected to Ethernet. Do I seem laggy to anybody?
Good to me.
No? Okay, cool. Sorry about that. But anyway, appreciate it. Deshawn, F&A Balls, what's going on? Appreciate you for tuning in. Yeah, man. She has some crazy, awesome snakes. I look at her Morph Market from time to time. Of course, I follow her on Instagram and look at her Morph Market and just get lost. I could rack up a hefty cart real fast with that girl.
Oh yeah. If you've ever watched some of her, like she did an egg cutting video with 2 kids, it was like Hunter and Lily. It was my son and daughter.
Oh, nice.
At her house in one of her videos. And
so have you been over to her new facility?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, nice.
I wanted so bad to do the what do you call it, epoxy floors in here.
Yeah.
And I started looking at how much that costs and what goes into it. Yeah. I just don't have anywhere I could put everything for the time that it takes to do that. I mean, I painted my floors, and I literally had everything on one side of the room at night. I had to have my wife went to Indiana to see her grandma for the weekend because she doesn't like smelling the paint and stuff. So, which it didn't end up smelling that bad because I was kind of worried about it with the snakes and stuff like that. Which I'll let it vent out as much as possible. But I did one end, let it dry overnight, then pulled everything to the other end and did the opposite end, and it was pretty stressful. So I couldn't imagine trying to do one of those epoxy floors. It'd definitely be something that you need to do like as you're building your room.
Oh yeah.
So did you do yours?
No, we actually
No?
have carpet.
Okay.
So I wanted to do epoxy, and I started to look at it after I had like the studs up the walls,
Mm-hmm.
and my wife was like, "Yeah, you need to sand the floor and hose it down,
Yeah.
and all that, And I was like, "Man, it's like that's just more mess than I wanted to deal with."
Yep.
So we just got carpet and put it down in here, and I like it a lot better. It feels like it
Yeah.
insulates it a lot more.
Yeah. How does it I've always wondered about that with like cocoa pieces falling and stuff. Like, does it get
Well,
aggravating?
no, so we have a vacuum, and we haven't used cocoa in this room yet. We've been
Okay.
all paper
Paper. Okay.
since we moved into this room. Prior to this, we used cypress and cocoa, but with these breeders now, since they haven't locked on paper, we're probably going to go back to cocoa just for them.
I got you. So whoever whoever this is, a Facebook user, whenever you are watching it on Facebook, there's a link there that if you click it, it'll pop up your name. I don't know why it does that on Facebook, but you asked, is it safe to paint the walls and floors while snakes are present? I'm not going to give you an answer to that because it's probably not the best idea. You definitely want to, like what I went with was low EOC or low VOC. Like basically it was like the least amount of um, smell or high odor that I could find for the garage floor paint. But it's not something I'm gonna recommend to anybody. But it was something that I did, and I felt like I needed to do for my sanity because my reptile room is my attached garage to my house. But the person who I bought my home from actually had this for a temporary living area. I don't know if it's his mother-in-law or something like that. So it actually has a vent for heating and cooling, and it's fairly well insulated. I've done some things actually at the same time that I did the floors, sealed the walls with crap. I can't remember the name. It's a block filler. Rob from KY Constrictors recommended that I
Oh,
use it.
the foam stuff.
No, it's not like expanding foam. It's actual paint.
Oh,
Man, what the heck is that stuff called? Um, I can't think of the name, but it's like a thick paint that is a waterproofer. Um, but it's used to keep moisture out of like basements, um, concrete foundations and stuff like that. But I'm using it to keep moisture in because I've had issues with humidity and stuff. But I tell you that and this new humidifier that I got, man. I don't know if you can see back there, but I've been bang on at 65 to 70%. Right now I'm 71%, but I don't have any of the fans blowing around since I've started using it. It's the Vornado. It's got 2 gallons on both sides. It's like $100 on Amazon. So if anybody needs a humidifier having issues with it, that's the one I recommend. I've tried a bunch of them. Do you have to humidify your room?
I do. So I have this small one that we had. It holds about a gallon of water that we had whenever we were in the smaller room. In this room, I got to fill it up like twice a day.
Yeah.
And it kind of still, it's not, it doesn't really bring it up like it needs to. So yeah, I'm definitely going to have to drop the
Yeah.
money on something bigger.
Nick, it wasn't kills. I know what you're talking about. That's like a mold resistant stuff. But my boy Gary right here came with it mainly because he helped me with it and went back to Lowe's when I had opened up one of the cans and it was like melted marshmallows, but big chunks of marshmallows floating around in it. And he goes, "Man, I don't think this looks right." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't either." I took it back and got it exchanged. But Dry Lock, that is and Dry Lock Extreme and Pro are the two that I use. It don't go very far. And crap's expensive too. But I definitely recommend it to anyone wanting to do a concrete block conversion. It's only 2 walls it's like the back wall and the side wall, and then of course I got my garage right here, which I actually just completely covered in black 3 mil plastic because I did notice a small draft in it, and that seemed to help as well. And then every other wall is drywall. But yeah, man, it's what I got to work with now. Now, whenever we buy a new house, the reptile room is gonna go in the budget, I guess. For last time, we were buying this house because we wanting to have a baby, and needed more space. We got 3 older boys, and now the youngest boy, 4th boy. We were considering 4 bedrooms, for the kids and stuff, and it's not going to go down any size because we're going to need a reptile room. So
Yep.
it's all good.
It's weird, like now, like how priorities change. It's like, well, like I got 4 kids, but I need like at least like a 5 bedroom plus like a bonus or something like that.
Yep. And then it just happened to work out to where this house has a attached garage and a detached 2-car garage. And not only did my wife give up this garage as her, where she pulls her vehicle in because it's attached to the house and can walk straight in out of the weather. She doesn't park in the other garage because that's where I keep all my other hobby stuff and breed rats as well. One part of it is me and my buddy Gary, we breed together. And then the other part is storage. I hunt like crazy, fishing stuff. I got a million fishing poles. So, yeah, man. Let's see. John, what's going on? Appreciate you for tuning in. Yeah, you need 5 bedrooms and a shed minimum for sure. All right, man. So I guess we'll get into the questions. Before that, I wanted to ask you. You mentioned your kids. I know I'd seen live with your daughter. How many kids do you have, and are they into the
4.
the reptiles? 4. Okay.
Yeah.
All girls, boys, mixture.
Boys. So I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old girl and a 13-year-old girl and a 15-year-old son.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, my oldest is 14, and it hit me too quick. I was talking to I don't know if you know or follow Jarrell, Daddy Daughter Reptiles.
Yeah.
I was talking to him about my oldest and slang. Like, I never thought that I would get to a point to where I was asking one of my kids to not don't talk to me in slang, because I grew up when the slang was being invented, or at least what he should know, and it was aggravating me. I was like, don't talk to me like that, talk to me normal,
So like I've had that conversation multiple times with my teenagers, but like I'm, telling them like I'm not your friend. Don't talk to me like I'm your friend.
Hey,
They just start. No.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's really just the ones that I'm like that I have to question them about. Like, what do you mean? Why are you saying that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not only that one, but like the dumb ones, which I guess when I look back on it, some of the slang that I used in high school, middle school was probably dumb too. But like the stupidest one that he says now is like, I'm not gonna even lie, and I'm like, well, of course you're not gonna lie, or I'm gonna be honest, or something. Like, that's not new, but it's like, why would you ever say that to me? Like, I've got several laws that are commandments in this house, and one is you ain't gonna lie to me, or when I ask you something, you're gonna tell me the truth. So, don't tell my wife that we breed together. Yep, I won't do it.
So if it wasn't for TikTok, I wouldn't know like a lot of this slang too.
Yeah. Oh man.
Some of the newer words.
TikTok's crazy. So do you post to TikTok often?
No, not like I did one a while back. I'm slacking hard on TikTok.
Yeah, it's hard, man. Like, it's one of the platforms that I've actually struggled more to come up with content, which doesn't say much about YouTube because I don't post a bunch of videos to YouTube other than this. But I don't know. I'm just so like we were talking about backstage, but I'm just too picky on myself, and like I need to just try to have fun more with it. But in our niche, coming up with videos that like are funny or thought about, and not just like, I mean, like I see a lot of people in our niche that just post stuff that's just like blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? But to post something, to come up with something, like some of the videos I do, and it's the ones that I'm like, oh yeah, this is nice, and I get everything ready, lights, and I'm doing it, and you know, I've done 57 takes, and then I get 127 views, and I'm like, I'm never doing this again. It's not happening. It's not happening. It didn't take off like I thought it would. And then I'll be on my way home at a stoplight, and I'll see something. I'll be like, that'd be a funny TikTok. And I do it one time, one take, and post it, and 5,000 views, and everybody's like, man, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen, you know. And I'm like, that was like the least amount of effort that I put into that one at all. So all right, so you kind of talked about what got you started keeping in the reptile hobby, and that journey started about 2 years ago.
Yep.
Is that just with ball pythons or reptiles to get all in general? You've never had any before?
Never had any before.
Okay, that's nice, man. You've come a long way in 2 years, and that's good to see, man. Progress is always like a beautiful thing, and I tell people all the time, if you haven't taken pictures, you don't have records of, you know, how you started, and it can compare it, you know, 12 months later, 24 months later to, you know, to where you started from. You need that. Like that is such a boost of. Go ahead.
It's crazy because 2 years ago we had one sea serpents combo rack.
Yeah.
And now I have half of an ARS 55 40. I got 3 levels of 70 30. I got some of the 10 series levels back there, and our 2 hatchling racks we built. So
it's beautiful, man. Growth is a beautiful thing. Gary's got a slang up here. No cap is the one I hate, and I hate the word epic for some reason. That's funny because I use epic a lot, and I like that word, but no cap definitely is like a stupid
I always
one.
do it just get on my kids' nerves. I'm like, no cap.
Mm-hmm.
Or busting.
And that's I think that's his issue, is that me and my wife pick with him, you know, like when he does something silly, like bruh, you know, like we come to him like that sometimes, but I guess I just need him to like know when to turn it off, know when to turn it on, and it needs to be as simple as a switch. So
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, because when I'm asking you why you haven't done your laundry, or why this bathroom ain't clean when I asked you to clean it, you know, 5 minutes ago, and you say, I ain't even gonna lie, I'm liable to not even maybe forget that you my son, you know. You know, so yeah, I don't like it when he does it at those times, you know. But if I've been messing with you, joking with you, come on back with it, whatever. That's cool. So I got a new question here that someone threw in. I can't remember if it's a comment or message. Uh, Somehow it came up, but they wanted me to talk more to people that I bring on here about upkeep expenses and expenses in general. Is that something you feel comfortable talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, hush, hush" about money and stuff like
No.
that. Not me. I don't care. I'll tell you. You know, if you ain't got money, if you don't have a comfort in your business bank account, hobby bank account, whatever the case may be, you know, a couple $100 at least, and you got more than 10, 15 snakes or 10, 15 animals, you need to rethink your options, because something could happen. And if you're not, you know, and if you don't care about these animals, then you're going to have to do some things and come up with some money, charge some stuff, whatever the case may be. Because, I mean, one animal going to the vet can quickly amount to $400 in a matter of hours. So, what would you say your monthly upkeep expenses are?
Well, that's a good one. So we breed our own rats. We have 20 colonies of rats and nine colonies of ASF, of African soft fur.
Yeah.
So I go through about 50 pounds of feed. I use the the Tucker Mill rodent chow.
Yep. So do I.
I use 50 pounds lasts me about almost a week, sometimes 4 days. So
Yeah.
I can go through it in 4 days, or it might last me almost 7 days.
Yeah.
And
Depending on how many wing you got that week.
yeah, and
Yep.
so that's like $18 a bag,
Yeah.
and we'll just say 20. So that's like $80 a month. And then I have bedding. So we get all of our bedding from Tractor Supply.
Yep.
And for the horse bedding and the flake, I'd say for a month, maybe 60 plus 80. I'd say closer to 80.
Okay.
Um, and I'd say that's probably about all the overhead because for um, the snakes for bedding, like I said, we use printing paper. It's just like blank paper like this
Okay. But
that
you
you
gotta
can
buy. You
fold.
have to buy that though, don't you?
Yeah, well, so my wife buys it from Amazon, and it's like a
Okay.
huge box of like a few hundred sheets is like $40.
Okay.
And so the last time we bought like a box of it, it lasted us 2.5 months.
Okay.
And one thing I like most about keeping on paper is that it forces you to stay on top of your husbandry game. Because you can see the second they pee or poop or anything, you're like,
Yeah.
it's there,
Yeah.
and you can clean it up.
Yep.
Versus Cocoa or Cypress, they may pee, you don't really realize it. It may just look kind of wet.
Yep.
But with paper, I mean, your husbandry has to be on point.
This is true, man. This is definitely true. I think you're probably one of the first people that I've had that are not for cocoa or are on paper, but don't use paper towels. And has brought up a very valid point about paper. Um, and honestly, not even gonna lie to you, it is the reason why I don't use paper. That and I haven't been able to keep a good humidity enough to where I felt comfortable to not have to deal with a lot of stuck sheds.
Yeah.
I very may well look into a paper once I know for a few months that I can keep my humidity where it's at. Because I mean, what do you run your room humidity at, or try to shoot it at?
I like it for at least to be 60.
60.
At
Yeah.
least 60, 55 to 60 on the low end.
Yeah.
But now that it's getting cold here, I know you
Yep.
grew up in Kentucky, like
Oh
within the
man.
last like month, like we don't really get a fall.
Yeah.
We get like summer and like a
Yeah.
week of fall, and then
Yep.
you hit like temps, like in the 30s and stuff. So uh, with the colder temps, the humidity I've noticed has been harder to keep up with the cool air.
Yeah. Right now it's 39 degrees. I always say like we get a very sprinter.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it goes from one extreme to the next.
But then
But
Christmas time, it'd be like 75 degrees and then
yeah,
rock back down to
it's weird, man. It's like
20.
the weather knows whenever it's gonna be some holidays going on, and um, the one holiday or the one day that I was hoping that we'd have like a real warm day was Halloween. I was like, I hope it's a little warm for Halloween, so at least above 70, 75, so I
Yeah.
can maybe take the Tegu for a walk or take one of the big boas while we go out trick-or-treating. And it was a little too cold. I think it was in the 60s, low 60s. I mean, good for kids running around with
Yeah.
candy so it don't melt, but wasn't good for me.
No, same here.
So John says that rat food, cat food is actually better for breeding rats and cheaper. Just food for thought. I've never looked into cat food. I personally, it just messes with my head when I think about feeding rats dog or cat food. I have in a pinch when I just absolutely couldn't get any, but it just, I don't know. It's a mental thing for me. But he goes on to talk about making sure that it is 21% or higher in protein and 11% or less in fat. And this is the key facts that I like to hear when people say stuff like this, because it makes me know that you have actually looked into and researched and thought about what you're doing, rather than Billy did tell me that ferret food is way better for dogs than dog food is. You know what I mean? When people say stuff like that, I'm like, well, how, he told you that, but you know what I mean? Like, what did you, so thank you, John, for that. And we will hear what you got to say, and I may look into that. But I use the Tucker right now. I do like it. I just don't really care for Tucker service. Like, it's there. I'm not gonna get on that rant, man, because I've been a distributor for them since last December, and it's just been a
See it. I I get it from a feed store in Saudi, and I remember it was like a month ago. I got like 4 bags, and they were all molded.
yeah.
And
We just
and
go ahead.
and he was like, let me send it back to Tucker, and he ended up giving me the Missouri like
Oh, really?
instead.
Nice.
I used Missouri for that little bit
Yeah.
of time, and then whenever I went back, he's like, yeah, Tucker has new bags now, because they used to be in the plain white bags.
The
Now
poly
they're in the
bags.
fancy printed bags.
I cannot imagine that costs less than the poly bags.
Yeah,
Did,
I
did
know.
you did you get it when it was the poly bags and then it switched to brown bags for a while?
No, I had it all like the brown bag.
Okay, so I was distributing back when they had poly bags, and it is like, a deer corn comes in,
Yeah,
uh, like that. And if it rained on my way home from the distribution center, it wasn't a big deal.
right,
Um, Now these new bags, especially the brown bags, like, they were awful. I mean, heck, if you grabbed them the wrong way, they would rip on you. These bags now they're not much better, but I mean,
right.
God, they didn't have to put all that fancy pictures and stuff on
Oh, I
there.
know.
Uh, they had
I
all
ain't,
their ingredients on the label. Have you noticed that it doesn't smell like apples anymore?
yeah, see, my wife used to say, because we load up the car and it just smells super sweet, and that's something else I kind of like,
Yeah.
because your rat room smelled good. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it doesn't have that real sweet smell anymore.
Yep. So it's like the prices went up,
Yeah,
and the feed quality, customer service, and everything has went down. Now they are 2 days out. I used to be able to call, like today I ordered, and I ordered 2 pallets, and they're shipped freight overnight from Alabama to Lexington. I live in Winchester, city away, and it used to be I could call today, it'd be here in the morning, like 9 o'clock in the morning. And now it is, I guess apparently their busy season is what they call it. And it's 2 days for processing. And then, so let's say I ordered tomorrow. If I ordered tomorrow, which is Wednesday and Thursday, they would make it. But Friday, they can't ship it because the Averett Distribution Center is not open on Saturdays or Sundays. So I have to wait till Monday to get it shipped, which it won't be here till Tuesday,
dang,
which
almost a
at
week
that point,
later.
it's almost been a week. So, and when I first started doing it, it used to be that I could call her and say, hey, I need 3 pallets and give me a quote for a freight, because it was always a little bit different. I'm talking $300 for shipping 2,000 pound pallets, and she'd call me back with the crate with the quote, and I'd be paying her, and I'd be like, "Hey, when am I gonna get it?" And she's like, "Oh, it's already shipped out." She may call me back the next day, and she'd be like, "It's already at Averett this morning, shipped out." And that was just like, that was the time where I felt like, okay, I'm doing something for them. They're looking out for me. Like, it's where it should be. And then it just went downhill and downhill, man. And I mean, I hate to bash on them, but it is what it is. I don't know how many. I wish I need to go back and look at the invoices and see how many pallets I've actually distributed for them. I mean, of course I've used the feed myself, but
Yeah.
I know it's well into the 30 range of pallets, maybe 40.
Oh wow.
Um, So you're talking about thousands and thousands of pounds of feed, which shipped, I'm not even getting it as cheap as you are, man. 18 and some change. That's awesome. But I don't know what arrangement for delivery the feed store you have. They may be getting a couple other different things of feed at the same time.
Yeah.
'Cause I know the more pallets you get, the cheaper it is per pallet on freight. The freight isn't cheaper, but the per pallet is. But I don't know, man. I've been looking into some other stuff. At this point, I'm almost wanting to just, go back to Missouri, or maybe look into this cat food John's talking about, and
See,
go there.
before we used doggy bag.
Yeah.
Doggy bag was supposed to be the go-to. Like Tractor Supply, like $20, 50 something pounds.
Yeah. That's one of those ones that when I first got into breeding, see, I bred rats for months before I started, collecting my snakes. And I've said this before, but I've bought snakes with rat money. I mean, honestly, if somebody wanted to, I've said this before, I mean, unless you're on a level where you're producing double visual recessives and stuff like that you can make more money breeding rats than you can breeding snakes.
So my rats pay for themselves because there's no way like I go through all the weed. Like I sell like 100 to 120 at a time, and that one sale pays for like my feed and bedding for like the month just about.
Yeah.
So, but to go back, like my wife came here, she brought me. You're talking about overhead costs, something I didn't think about. So packing. So for shipping.
Hold on. You got your number one fan watching too?
Yeah, she's in the living room.
Well, mine watches every week. She's sitting in the living room on the couch, probably TikToking and looking at the TV at YouTube. That's awesome.
But so packing. So no, you're fine. Shipping boxes. That's a huge cost for hatchlings, and then you got to talk about for this now a season. You got heat packs, and then crowd packs for the summer.
Yeah.
And then you got stickers that you always send out with, and then you got shirts.
Yep.
Show costs. If we just started vintage shows, you got shows and travel expenses.
Yeah.
And now cleaning supplies too.
Yep.
Which the good thing about chlorhexidine, you go to Tractor Supply, get a gallon, and that lasts you like a year.
Yes, sir. Yeah. The $15 gallon of chlorhexidine, I think I go through about one a year, maybe a little less because see, my kids have bearded dragons and they use it, and I know that they go a little bit over what they should, and I do from time to time, depending on what it is I'm cleaning. If I know I'm cleaning out some of the retic and the burns enclosure and stuff, I may go a little bit heavier. But yeah, I'm not buying no F10. The chlorhexidine is just as good. So, so it looks like the feed, what you said for bedding and feed was about 180. And then if you add up promotional stickers, let's say what you think you spend about.
So stickers, always Sticker Mule is my friend, and so where they have like the deals,
they're not my friend no more because they don't do the $20.
They do.
They do. I haven't got no email. They took me off the email list. Me and Gary. We was just talking about that the other day. They ain't sent me no.
I just got they had their die cut hollows like this, and I ended up getting 200 of them for like $80.
Yeah, I mean that's $20 for 50. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Times 4. Yeah.
Huh. So that, and I think other than that, they had a deal on their square stickers and something else. But yeah, so you just say rough cost on stickers up front, like $100, depending on if you get like 2 different prints and stuff.
That's messed up, man. I ain't got no email getting no promotional email like that, and I don't know how long. I got the email saying that they won't be doing it anymore, or this will be
I
the
got that
last
too.
one. And that's all I've done. Ordered shirts from them. The front graphic didn't come out as good as it was supposed to. It was a little dull. It was almost gray, not white. Your shirts are dope, man. We'll have to do a shirt trade. Might have to give you two to your
Definitely.
one, two,
So
because my shirts aren't that nice.
it's kind of disappointing because we got let's see, just ordered new shirts, and I thought these were like the graphite black, but they're not. So my new shirts are graphite black. The pink isn't like as bright,
Yeah, yeah,
and but the one thing I like though on the back, instead of the morph marking and all that being white,
yeah.
it's pink
Nice. Now,
to match the spray.
is that vinyl or
Screen
what?
print.
Screen print? Okay. See,
Yep.
I just got I started looking into infusible ink because I do mine with the Cricut. Like, because I've went through. I mean, I've went through Teesprings. I've went through Sticker Mule. I've went through local people. I've went to a guy in Tennessee, and that guy was probably the most awful out of all of them. He made me 5 hoodies and a hat. Never even wore the hat. It was so awful. The hoodies,
Hey,
the so my original main logo has the highway snake in it, right?
yep.
So on a shirt, he used the black on the hoodie. The black was the hood or the hoodie, and you had to layer the white and the yellow on top. This man had to have seen the hoodie before he sent it out to me, and the yellow dorsal stripes was over top side of the side of snake. It wasn't where it was supposed to be. But when he sent me the picture, he sent me 2 pictures of the best looking hoodies, and they look decent. But completely ignored my instructions of what I wanted on the front and the back. I wanted my main logo like you have on your front, big. It was a little
Yeah.
piece on my left chest. The back logo was going to be completely different. And all this is in messages too, mind you. It's not like I called him and was like, hey, this is what I want. I hope you can remember it. If you're not writing it down and you're in the car, then oh well. Not to mention, he could have messaged me back and been like, I just wanted to make sure this is what you want. And on the back, he did the same exact logo on the front and then completely messed up how I wanted the social media tags and all that. Um, and then his 45-day turnaround. I didn't get my hoodies for 5 months, 4 months, something like that. And by the time it was done with, it was almost 5 months before I got my refund. But he he played. I mean, ring around the rosy with me forever, man. On saying like, I'm sorry they didn't come out the way you wanted them to, and I'm like, bro, you just flat out didn't do what I told you to do, and then hyped yourself up like you. I mean, I got some from some shirt company. I can't remember, and they didn't do it well at all either. And then he was like talking shit about them. He's like, yeah, they don't know how to uh, use vector files or something, and using some language I don't even know what he's talking about. I'm not all that in PNG and all this stuff. I know the words you're saying. I just don't know the applications that they matter. And he's like, yeah, they didn't use. I'll kill it, man. I'll kill it. And then he sends me this, and I'm like, man, what is going on? I'm gonna send these back to you. Pay for the postage because you messed up. Pay for the postage for them to come back to you because I don't want nothing for, something for nothing. And then either give me my money back or remake these hoodies in less than 45 days, like your turnaround says it's supposed to be. And he acted like he had an assistant, and then he was like, he's actually not in right now. And I'm like, this is a Facebook page, all right? I know this goes to his phone, so you can play me if you want to. And it went around like that until I was actually going to a guy. You're in Tennessee, so you may know him. Southern Critters.
Yep.
He makes racks. I
Yep.
bought 2 racks.
David
Yep,
Simmons.
David
Dave
Simmons. Yep,
Simmons.
yep.
Yep.
I bought 2 racks from him and drove to go pick them up. And I realized that this guy was like 7 minutes down the road from him. And I said, hey, man, I just wanted to make sure this is your address because I'm not getting nowhere on messages. So I just want to pull up and talk to you face to face and figure out what we need to do because you're not going to steal from me. And I don't want these crappy hoodies. So he tried to get like all strong. It was like, well, actually, the address is such and such, which I guess was his way of like, I'm not scared of you. I wasn't trying to be threatening. I was just saying like the messages ain't going nowhere, so I'll need to see you face to face to figure out what we need to do before I tell everybody that's on your page that there's having all these nice reviews about you that you ain't worth the damn, because that's what type of service I was getting. So, but he ended up saying, that's not my address. Here's my address, but here's your refund. What's your PayPal? And gave it back to me. So John says he pays
That's awesome.
$16 a bag for a 50-pound bag at Walmart. Is that the cat food, or um, I think he's probably talking about the feed for the rats. Uh, F&A Balls, what's going on? Appreciate you for tuning in. Says always nice to sell the occasional Dumbo hairless as a pet for $25. That is true. See, I did that for about 2 months, and then I had to nip it off. Too many people. I've got like one or two people that I will allow to come and like pick out their pet quality and all that. But the people at 10 o'clock at night saying, you got any orange rats? You got any gray rats? And I'm like, I'm sure I do. I've got about 300 of them. Saying, ding, can I get pictures? Man, it's 10 o'clock. I'm about to go out there and take no picture. I'm laying in bed. I don't want to go handle the rats. You know what I mean? And what do you mean? Do you want me to
Yeah.
like put them up against a freaking under the LED light like I'm doing the snakes and stuff? So I got real old. And then people, will you bring it 2 cities over for $5? You know, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing
See,
it.
that's one thing I don't do is I sell to maybe like a handful of people. I'm talking about 5 people like that I'll let come here and get rats from me, and they get
Yeah,
what they get. Whatever I
yeah.
hand them, they're happy with.
Oh
They're not
yeah,
wanting
for
this
sure,
cute little thing, and
for
then the
sure.
rest I just bulk sell out. I'm not.
Yeah, yeah. So we
Rat
actually,
people are some of the craziest.
yeah, yeah. That is true. I mean, I guess a lot of people would probably say that about us snake people,
I mean, but yeah, yeah,
but
it
I get
definitely
what you're
goes both
saying.
ways. But they're
Yeah,
like all hours of the day and night
yeah,
wanting, just weird stuff about rats.
for sure. Um, I was about to say something. Dang, I'm always like squirrel brain. I'll lose my train of thought. Can't remember what I was about. Oh, me and my buddy Gary were talking about as far as feeders cost, or selling feeders. We had gotten to a point to where it was a combination of not retiring breeders correctly and seasonal changes and not having a well enough insulated rat room. We built a rat room, insulated it. We've got that to where it won't drop below 60 degrees, and in the summer it doesn't get above 75 or something with the AC running. So we've got it down packed. We're retiring breeders, getting new breeders in there, and we're starting to produce a lot. Between the two of us, we're probably feeding off close to 100 a week. Um,
Oh,
and I want to see how that does and sell rats, but I do not want to sell. No offense, people who have two snakes and just want to buy two rats a week. If I have 40 extra feeders, I want to have one person that's going to buy 40, or
yeah.
3 people or 4 people that buy 10 a piece, and nothing less than that, because it's just like, I mean, you have family, 4 kids, like that. I talk like I can't just come outside and say, "Hey, here's your rat." Boom, I'm gone. Like hey, how's it going? Like I'm
I'm the same way.
personable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it. I don't know, man. So I have to put limits on myself. You know what I mean? And have people, and not only that, bro. Like when do you ever sell people and you're like, "Hey, where you been at? I ain't seen you in like 3 months." Like, oh yeah, I've been. You're like asking them, "You been cheating on me? You've been buying other people?" And in
Yeah.
their mind, they're thinking like, I hope he doesn't ask me, where I've been, because my snake ain't ate in 2 months. I hadn't had $7 to buy some rats. But it's, I don't know, man. I try not to get too picky with like, because I know how it is. Like they just need rats. I know people need
Yeah.
rats, and they, especially the people who actually enjoy coming. And I don't know how you are, as far as people come. If I have dealt with you enough to where I know that you do at least care about your snakes, I don't mind bringing you into my reptile room, kind of show you around, stuff like that. I try not to do it with everybody and kind of do a little bit of due diligence, because not everybody is real super clean. But I'll spray my floors down with ivermectin if I feel like you may be mite positive. I swear I will. I will. And I won't. You won't get anything in your hands. If you've ever been in
Yeah.
here and I've not been like, here, hold a snake, you will not get it in your hands. All right,
So
so we
yeah,
got
that's funny because I never thought about that whole thing until we started like vending shows, and I was asking another breeder, and I was like, "What do you do with people who always want to hold snakes? Like, hey, can I hold that? Can I hold that?" And they were like, who's serious about buying a snake and
yeah,
who's not. And they
oh
were
yeah,
like, if they just want to hold a snake, pick your cheapest snake like a normal or something,
yep.
one that you don't care that gets mites or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you do let one hold, so like a lot of people hold, they're like, because that's the risk that you're taking by letting
Yeah,
tons of people hold your animals.
yeah, yeah. I luckily I haven't had to vend any shows. I've done one show and it was really just to get out there and do it and get that experience and know what it's like, get my feet wet. Um, I do very well as far as like, not constantly having a lot of hatchlings. Um, but yeah, man, mites are like probably one of my. I mean, of course, I don't want any of the animals to get sick, but like, I'm constantly like, was that a mite? Is there a mite? That's what's that black speck? So I just like it's such a hassle to even think about throwing away all my cocoa and getting in here and cleaning this many tubs and treating all these snakes and not missing, because I use ivermectin and it's like, you need to follow those instructions to the T.
Yeah,
That's the one I believe in. I don't know what you use. Have you ever had a mite outbreak or had to deal with them?
I haven't.
I haven't. I
Luckily,
haven't.
very fortunate, knock on wood.
Yeah. Dang it.
We do treat with the reptile spray,
Okay, so
and
that's
then
all
we always
natural.
spray the
That's the all natural spray too,
prevenamide.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, and we spray like we still treat tubs with that like once a month, just
Yeah.
in case, because you never know. Um, but yeah, we haven't dealt with a mite outbreak or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
like I
I've been
said, knock
fortunate.
on wood, because I don't know what I would do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have no choice but to deal with it, and I don't
Yeah, I
think
know.
you're one of these people that would kind of ignore it. I
Mm-mm.
it You would think that no one would. You would think this, but I'm telling you that there are people that act shocked when you say there's a mite on your snake or something, and I'm almost like Ebola when if I see it, I'm like, oh, let me back out slowly. All right. Uh, and then I don't even want to get in my car. I want to call like an Uber or something. I get in the truck and the whole way home, I'm just like, do I feel something on me? I don't know
You
what's
got
going on.
dogs or anything?
I do. I got beagles too, man. They'll
So
roll 'em.
have you ever had a flea outbreak?
No, but I buy flea preventative, the good kind, every year. I don't. I don't. I use preventative for mites too. You ever seen this?
No, that's cool.
So I've
No
talked
shot.
about this before, and I didn't. I did not invent this. I can't remember. Jason Bigler, Morph Mixology, I think, is the first person that I seen it used. But I've heard plenty of people talk about it. I've been using it for over a year, maybe right at a year. But it comes like this, and everybody's like, it's funny. People say, "What's that, cheese?" And I'm like, "Why would I have cheese in the snake tub? Like, what?" All right, but it's this one's actually already been had a piece cut off of it, but it's a little square block and super thin, and I just cut it into pieces about about like that, about that wide, not the whole
Hmm.
strip like this piece here. At the end would be like 3 squares, and I'll toss it in the back, um, where the snake will be mostly laying at, and I like to say that it has stopped because I know twice for certain mites in my shop, twice for certain. One guy had a snake that had a clutch of eggs and was a longtime rat customer, one of my first rat customers, and was freaking out and didn't know what to do. And I was like, man, bring him over here. I'll incubate him for you. The dang clutch had mites crawling over the eggs. I mean, I've never had mites when my snake was laying eggs, so I guess I can't even say that I've never seen anything like that because I haven't been put in opportunity to see anything like that. But and it had mites, and then another person who had brought a snake, and the snake had mites, and I was um, actually uh, incubating the eggs after she laid. Nevertheless, I treated her and pre-treated every snake in the rack. Used this stuff, and this stuff stayed in each tub for uh, probably. I think I did a new piece like every 10 days or something like that. 10, 14 days, I put a new piece in there, so it was super fresh. And I never seen them go anywhere else. I've never gotten mites
Awesome.
from the cocoa or anything like that. But as a natural preventative or a standard preventative, I cut these up and put them in each tub once every 3 months or so. And it says that it lasts for up to 4 months. And it's continuous protection for killing, flying, and crawling insects. No pest strips. And these are like $6 a piece. Now, uh, Christopher said it will work in the rat racks with half inch. Um, I have not had fleas in my rats or anything like that to have to use them in the rat racks, but I did get grain mites from Tucker in my feed, and I threw it. And I did one colony at first because I was like, if they're gonna die from this, then I just want to lose one colony. We keep this stupid person keeps jumping in trying to troll. It's funny because I was just telling you before we started that I don't really get anybody throwing comments up trying to troll and stuff, and then I get one. I haven't had one in like 5 or 6 shows. I can't block them. Anyway, you're going to timeout. All right. So uh, I put it in the container like this, and I threw it in
Hmm.
the bottom of my feed bucket, and it killed all of the grain mites.
Oh wow.
But now, I don't know if you do bioactive enclosures, or anybody watching has ice pods or springtails or anything that you have a bioactive enclosure. Of course, these will kill insects, so do not use them inside the bioactive enclosure. Not only that, don't be like me and use them in your snake rack. Over here, everything's backwards. Snake rack, and then take your snake shed because your ice pods eat snake skins, and then put the snake skin in the ice pods and kill all thousands of your isopods because you'll be looking pretty silly like I was. And that's the laugh of the day right there because I was pretty butthurt of that. I
Hey.
couldn't even. I was like, what did I do? What did I do? And my buddy was like, man, it was the no hot shots. And you put the shed in there. Dang. Sure enough. So, yes, John, mites do suck. Let's see. Mites do suck. Yes. Here's a question: How many of you have feeder filings in a cage? How many of you have feeder filers in a cage? Oh, like are
Oh,
you talking about like
shoe tubers.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah. Let's see. I think this is BJ here. He probably jumped out. He gets up for work at like 3 o'clock in the morning. He usually tunes in every week, but crazy hours on that. Let's see here. Oh, failures. John, you said how many feeder failures? How many? Re-ask that question, John. I'm trying to put it together.
how many feeders? How many snakes don't eat, or
You might be saying feeder failures in a cage. How many of you have feeder failures in a cage? I can't. I don't know. All right. So besides ball pythons, do you keep any other reptiles?
my daughter has two sand boas that actually, sorry, three.
Okay.
She has two that she's actually breeding this year. So we're
Okay.
hopefully waiting to see if they're gravid or not. One is off food, the other one's still eating. But hopefully she'll have her first litter of Sambos.
Nice. Nice. That's sweet. All right. So we got the full question here. I get it now. He said, "How many of you have feeder failures in a cage as pets?" Uh, one that it was a feeder and they didn't get eaten, so now they are pets. I can't do that at all. Uh, it just won't happen. Never has. I just like I know rats are smart, and I've had some favorites that I've not fed off, and they've just done the deed until there was no more. They went to the great beyond, but there I can't keep them as pets. I got too many other pets and stuff like that.
So, so my wife, she has some like every litter, she'll pick out and be like, "Hey, don't feed that one."
Yeah,
So I grow it up, wean, and then I eventually move it into a breeding colony.
yeah,
And so, like, literally, like, our breeding colonies are selective bred. Like, she has her
yep,
Rexes and double Rexes, and
yep,
then the Martins and
yep.
all those. And we even have some Dumbo Martin double Rexes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I mean, like, pet quality rat. Like, I could probably get 40, $50 for one of these rats
Yeah,
that I'm just
yeah,
throwing in feeding to snakes because
yeah.
she likes the way they look.
Yep. I did the same, and I had to stop doing that. I had to stop like caring about the pairs that I was doing with the rats, and as far as like how they look, I want to put these martins together, whole litter of martins, and I want the martins that are hooded martins or hooded and Dumbo, like you said, double
Yeah.
Rex and Rexes and stuff like that, because I would start to get people that are like, these are feeders. Like, you gotta be selling these things as pets. I don't want that one. And being picky uh, and I think at one point somebody was like just buying them for me to resell them as pets, and I'm like, it's cool, whatever. Like, I don't care. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't know. I had to stop that, and especially when it came time to, upgrade how many rats I was breeding. When I had
Yeah.
3 rat racks, it was a lot easier for me to like really be selective and stuff like that. Um, Now I think we got 40, close to 45 or 48 tubs.
Oh,
Like I
wow.
said, we're probably producing 150 close 150, 175 a week, somewhere around in there. Um, I mean, it's Olympic games sometimes when we pull some of these tubs out with weaned in it, man. To have to
Yeah.
catch them trying to run out the back, it's hilarious. Uh, John, I can barely control my own wife, so that's I'm sorry for you, man. She's gonna keep keeping them, especially the cute ones, and they're probably all cute to her. Let's see. Christopher says that's the way his daughter, how it is at his house with his daughter and rats and the mice. Do you breed mice?
No, just we. So we do African soft furs
Yeah.
that we do hatchlings. And then after like their third meal, we start giving them pups. And
Yeah.
that's something else I think is a big misconception that people think that feeding a snake an ASF that after that first meal that's all they're going to take. They're going to be stuck on because it's like crack. All
Yeah.
of my snakes, I literally go back and forth between ASF and normal rats, and they don't care. I
Yeah.
have probably about one, two, three, four, five out of 50
Yeah.
that literally will just take ASF only.
Hmm. Okay. Well, ASFs are not, well, they're called some, they have the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife have a technical name. I guess their scientific name that they're labeled under, but you get fined if you have them.
Oh, man.
I don't know. But most people here don't feed them just because you can have them frozen, but it's about a lot easier for most people to feed live. But I ask you that because I breed mice, and it's only for problem feeders, hatchlings to get started. And typically, if I can get them to take 1 to 2 mice hoppers, I can throw a rat in there, and they don't know the difference, and they're off to the race.
Mhm.
Um, but I absolutely despise mice. There's no doubt about it that mice are the worst rodent to breed, and I've not even bred them all.
ASF aren't any different.
Yeah,
They're horrible.
that's what I hear, man. I hear they are absolute nightmares to get started, to
Yeah,
keep. They're mean. I hear all that.
yeah.
I don't know. He says they have mice, ASFs, rats, gerbils, and hamsters, 12 different kinds. You have got a
Jeez.
rodent nation over there. All right. I couldn't do
No,
all
that's a lot
those,
to
man.
keep up with.
Let's see. All right. So we talked about, you said your daughter had a couple sand boas and hoping to get so they're about a litter live birth
Yep.
from them. Awesome, awesome. I got a couple boas. But I got a retake and a berm, and they're just my pets. I don't plan on breeding them ever. I did the berm for a while, and then I really took a deep look at myself in the mirror and was like, man, you aren't, not right now. You're not built for that 16-foot female trying to get them eggs. I'm not Jay Brewer at all. But I do hope I'm about to put my Dermos boas pair back together for a few months, and I hope that they have a litter. And I've got a BCI pair, 2 BCI pairs going together. Um, Hoping for some Roswell ladder tails. It's a split pairing with the
Nice.
with a buddy of mine. Are you into boas at all, like BCIs? No. Okay.
A buddy of mine is really big into boas, huge into boas. Um, like the really high end stuff, and it's just boas just don't do it for me. I mean, I
Yeah.
love like the IMGs
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, but it's I don't know, balls is where it is
Yeah. You do you see
for
yourself
Bob.
getting one, a boa at all?
Maybe as a pet,
Yeah.
but if I really had to lean towards a pet snake, I would get some type of a boreal
Okay.
snake, as like
All
a
right.
display snake.
Yeah, like a green tree or
Yeah,
maybe a carpet
Amazon.
python, Amazon
Yeah,
Jumbo. Yeah. Man, I was like that at first too, and then I had everybody paired up, and it seemed like I couldn't find a snake to hold. One was in shed, one, you know, other tub they were paired, and some other ones had just eaten, and it was just like, this sucks. I can't even grab a snake. And I started thinking, and I was like, oh, I'll just get a boa, and then I got a boa, and I learned quickly that they're constantly on the move. They're more active, and I figured out quickly why people, if they do, prefer boas over ball pythons. But me having the love of ball pythons, I know why ball python people love them more than any other snake, and that is the obsession with the different patterns, morphs, and what they do, and seeing how differently they react with this morph and that morph, and the challenge of
Yeah.
ID in it, and just the whole excitement of the entire process from start to finish of seeing those combinations go together. You know what I mean? So that and you just don't get those with any other species, and that I can really tell as far as the vastness of it. As far as how many combinations they are.
Yeah.
But I definitely recommend getting you a boa, man. I've got one that I probably will never pair. She's an albino. I don't even know what. That's another thing. It's like VPI or Azantic and Balls has 4 different lines.
TSK, VPI.
Yeah, Jolliffe,
Yeah.
and there's a 4th one. I'm pretty sure.
Can't think. But I know, like, called boas, they got like a T positive, T negative,
Yeah.
like different albino, I
Well,
guess the
and
different melanistic.
they also have sharp call. I feel like there's a 3rd one, but I think it's sharp and call. So like sharp and call, and I think there's one other one. But anyway, they have the different lines and the different types. But so do we, as far as albinos goes. Albino, lavender albino, and I thought there was a 3rd one of the T negative. And then you got T positives, ultramel, burgundy albino,
Yeah.
monarch, and caramel albino. Did I already say that? But anyway,
Oh,
I
Candy's the other one.
Candy, yeah, Candy and Tofino, which may or may not. I guess they aren't the same gene, but they look pretty similar to me. Um, John says he has a pair of. I'm not even. I'm gonna mess that word up. Nicaraguans, and a pair of
I
BCIs.
can't. I can't say it either.
I had a hypo Nicaraguan. It was like a dwarf. The thing was like almost 3 years old, and it was only 3 feet maybe. It was small, but it was an adult almost. But anyway, yeah, man, definitely recommend getting you a boa, and it's even better when you can when you have no aspirations of breeding, a
Yeah.
stress free pet, and you can say. So like with knowing what I wanted with the berm, I started looking through them. I was like, you know, I did not at all think that my wife would fly with me saying, "Hey, I want to get a berm," because at first the ball pythons were huge to her, and then when I start talking about boas, and then I got some boas, and she sees how big they are, everything else starts to get a little bit smaller and smaller. Um, she hasn't. I mean, the retic is only 4 foot, and she thinks it's huge. When he's full grown in a couple years, I don't know how big
Yeah.
he's gonna get, but it may really shock her. So thanks, son. Um, it's nice. It's nice when you can have a pet snake that you are saying, this is the one that I want. And I wanted the hypogranite berm. And I waited until I found the right one that was the perfect quality that I wanted. I didn't care. I didn't care about as far as like, if I can save $200 buying this one from this guy local, you know what I mean? I bought my berm from a breeder in California, and I couldn't be more happy with him. Cold Hearted Exotics is the breeder, and they have like the most exceptional berms and retics that I've ever seen. Um, and I'm glad that I did that, and I was able to do that because that is a pet. I have no intentions of breeding, and it wasn't like I felt like I was rushed or I was going to miss out on the deal. And looking at investment to return ratio, none of that. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
the ball pythons bought him. You know what I mean? They that was like my pat on the back for my first season breeding. You know what I mean? So that was pretty cool.
How many seasons have you done?
So technically, I'm going into my 3rd season. as far as I look at seasons as year. So
Yeah.
19 to 20, 20, 21, and 21, 22. Or wait,
That's right.
2021. Yeah, but we're going into 22, right? Yeah, right. All right.
Yeah.
So I had several clutches before we rolled into 21. So in 20, and I had 12 clutches in 21, and then this will be going into my third season.
Okay.
But it's not been 3 years that I've been breeding. It's been less than two. I guess
Yeah.
I just started it at the right time. But I don't
Same
really
here. Like
go ahead.
our one thing I've noticed, like our first season, we had 4 clutches of 32 eggs.
Oh,
We
nice.
sold them all before really the first of the year. Um, I think I think we might have sold one around February or so. Our last one. This year we've had 8 clutches, so
Mm,
doubled it, and we're at 64 eggs.
yeah.
We have 7 in the incubator right now.
Okay.
Our most anticipated clutch, we had our OD gravel paired to our highway, so
Okay.
really hoping
Nice.
for some super gravels.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
but snakes aren't moving. I don't feel like this year like they were last year.
Nah, not at all. I mean, there's like 30,000 ball pythons on Morph Market, and
Yeah,
I think this time last year there was 19, 18, somewhere around in there.
yeah.
But people aren't getting free money either. So
Oh, I know. Yeah,
it's I think it slowed down, kind of went back to the normal path. Um, but I definitely don't think it's like dead or
oh
it's
no.
at a stop. Excuse me. I mean, I still have people message me. A lot of times I don't have what they want, or they don't have the means to get what they want. Um,
Yeah,
and some of those, I just a lot of people complain about the conversations that they have to be in the breeding industry, which is conversations to people who may not be able to afford what you have, but you still need to treat them with dignity. You still need to treat
oh
them
definitely.
like they matter, you know.
Yeah,
But the people that crack me up, man, is the people who get offended when you ask them, "What's your budget?" I'm trying to help me and help you by wasting
yeah,
neither of our time, but you just got offended because I asked you what your budget is, and you go cheaper, but because you don't want to say the price, or I'm like, what's cheap to you? You know, what's cheap to me may not be cheap to you. You know, I have a certain number that I don't want to go under anymore, just because I feel like it's not worth it. There's a lot of people that feel like there's a range that you need to stay in to be sustainable, and not uh have to heavily invest in like higher end projects like Sunset Puzzle and all
yeah,
that. You stay in between the $500 to $1,200 range, and you can be sustainable. Everything that you invest in, you will get a return in, and um, and I'm kind of like that, to where like I look at stuff, and it's not that I'm above buying something for $100 or something, but like when I find deals, or snakes that I really, really like, and jeans that I really need in my collection, that are um, under the market, and they stay inside that range, those really entice me. You know what I mean?
yeah. So that's something that we found out this year that's really been a driving force for our future seasons is that all of our snakes priced $600 or above are gone.
Yep.
Literally, my first snakes to sell were $1,200.
Yep.
And now I'm left sitting on these $200-300
Yep.
snakes. So now, like, it definitely has steered our future seasons to, like, staying above like a certain price point, or I guess I don't want to say price point, but quality, because I feel like when you start throwing in a lot of the recessives, and even though you may get a normal, you
Yeah.
may have like 2 or 3 recessives in it. That's a $600 snake that people are like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, all day long.
Yeah. Yep.
But if you
Yeah.
throw a lesser out there, then people are like, okay, it's a lesser, it's $100 or something.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that appealing.
Yeah. Yeah. And those same people, they're like, you got anything more impressive? Or, you're like, yeah, sure. Here's a Orange Dream Super Pastel head hypo. How much? 550 or whatever. Like, oh
Yeah,
my God. Do you have anything less? What? Just
yeah,
just tell me your budget. All right, and I'll tell you exactly what I have. That's how I just start out with that one. What's your budget? Like I'm not even gonna wait. Like talk about send me your list. No, what's your budget? Because most people don't even know what that looks like. Like if I get a list,
yeah,
I can imagine. Like I'm like, okay. And then it's Het Clown, and I'm like, oh, it definitely looks better than the lesser pastel, uh, normally does because it's Het
yeah.
Clown, So,
And
but
that's something else. I really didn't realize till recently how much head like can change a
yeah,
pattern in the way a snake looks. Like we have a het pod inchy, and then you compare it to our um, het albino 66% het rainbow inchy, and it's like looks like two totally different snakes. Same
oh,
genes,
nice,
just different recessive.
that's nice, man. What was the one with rainbow? Is it 100% rainbow?
No, 66. So
66.
it's funny. We were vending the Chattanooga show, and Tom Harbin,
Uh-huh.
he's like, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be really where we're at because he was getting rid of some breeder females, and I purchased a pastel ivory and an orange dream yellow belly from him,
Okay.
and I was like, hey Tom, do you have any like thing gravel or something like that? And he was like, well, I have this subadult orange dreamy gravel. So we ended up buying all three from him, and that was pretty much our first breeding season. He had a OD Highway. Still, I held her back,
Mm-hmm.
um, and the rest, the Super OD stuff, is like insane. I wish I would have held some stuff back. I didn't. Um, but that was our first pairing. But sorry, got off a little track. But Tom
Oh, you're
Harbin,
good. You're good.
we were looking at his table, just seeing some of the stuff he had. He had like a crazy banana highway. We were looking at rainbow, and rainbow is something my wife has been crazy about since she first saw it. Some
Yeah.
guy overseas, like in Europe or something, was really big into rainbow. Has some crazy rainbow stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, "I want that." They're like high as a cat's back, man.
Yeah.
Like 6,000
Yeah.
for a visual, or
Yep.
even more.
Yep.
And so we Tom had two there, two rainbow females for 5 and 6,000, and he had these two snakes next to it. This male and female, a female super inchy and a male inchy, and they were just labeled as het albino.
Yeah.
And so he was like, well, he was like, these over here are actually labeled. They're actually 66% het rainbow. It's the clutch mates to these two visuals. My
Okay.
wife, without even like thinking or whatever, she's like, I'll take both of them. And
uh,
yeah, and so he was like, yeah, he was like, I didn't know I really had rainbow in my collection. I was breeding some albinos together and hit rainbow.
that's sweet,
Uh,
man.
yeah, and
So,
so do what?
no, I was saying, go ahead. I had to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. I was like, so hopefully, like in 2 years, we'll have hopefully, figure out if we got lucky or not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you about how big they are and how long do you think you got to till you can see something from them.
So I'll pull the girl out because she's the most impressive, but they're the same size. So this is the girl, and her head is like just
Oh yeah,
crazy.
yeah, man.
But she's not that big. She's this year's hatchling.
Yeah, Yeah, but she's like yellow. I have
Oh yeah,
I just actually had a spin to win for Inchy that was 66% het clown, and he was like orange, you know, and it was like it was crazy because I know that it was the het clown influence in that because single gene Inchies are like normally would look like a I don't know what kind of color you'd call it, but um, yeah. See, that's kind of more of the color that he is. Is that the sister?
no, this is an inchy het pod.
Okay, see, that's like the color that I was, but he was a little bit more orange than that. But that top color, that's kind of what you'll see normally on in the inchies. Yep, yeah. Um, let's see, Gary, you back in here? You know, on break at work, buddy. Gary works third shift. He ain't doing too much working. Um, but yeah, man, it's funny. You had said your snakes, 600 plus. It's like you can't keep them in. Man, I can sell uh $600 to $800 snake on Morph Market, like literally 2 days within posting it. Every snake that I've ever posted to Morph Market to 300 or less, it sits for a while,
Yeah,
and I'll usually like have to delete it and repost it to Morph Market before it comes across the right person. But all that tells me is that the vast majority of people using Morph Market are breeders.
yeah,
Most of them. I mean, that's most of our clientele anyway. Breeders breeding
yeah.
other breeders. Um, I've sold to a handful of pet owners, but I have 5, 6 people that have four, 5 babies that I've produced and two. So, and all it boils down to is good customer service. I
Yep.
always answer questions. I don't care who you are. If you bought a $50 normal from me or a $500 snake from me, don't care. If you're annoying and you don't say I'm sorry for being annoying, or if you're not annoying and you constantly say sorry for being annoying, but I like the conversation we have, I always try to treat everybody with the same. After you leave, I may say, "Dang, that person was annoying," but I'm still going to treat you with
Oh
the
yeah.
good customer service that you deserve. And
That's
that's
the
kind of
same thing. Like,
yeah.
sorry, go
You good?
ahead.
No, you good. You good.
Like I've had so many conversations with people, like long conversations, um, on habitat and what they need and sending them links and all
Mm-hmm.
this other stuff and all for them just to go somewhere else and buy a snake or
Yeah.
something. And it's like, it's kind of like daunting, but at the same time, like I hope that they go somewhere else and like, man, Seth really was a whole lot better than this person. Next time when I want another one, I'll go
Yeah.
back to him.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like people. I don't know. Like if I ever tell them like don't buy from this person or like watch out for them, I feel like they think that there's malicious intent for me saying that, but like I'm truly meaning don't do that because I don't I'm not the type to like want to hog all the people who want snakes. I literally uh help people almost every day try to get better at reaching people to be able to sell their snakes or network or whatever the case may be, um, because there's too many people out there that will want snakes and are going to want snakes and do want snakes for me to say no, only me.
yeah,
My buddy, um, I told him, I said, watch this, man. I'm gonna go to your Facebook post and I'm gonna comment. And I already know that these snakes are available, but I was trying to show him how Facebook algorithm works. And it's so weird because it was weeks ago that he posted them. And just by me going and commenting, "Are these snakes available?" It repopulates it to the top of that group's page, and now everybody is scrolling through, because most people will just scroll a couple of seconds and then they're gone from that page to the next one.
Yeah.
And to scroll back a couple weeks on a group, if it's got 5,000 people on it, it's going to take you a couple hours. You know what I mean? And he instantly got someone messaging about him. Now, they probably didn't buy a snake, but it's just a method, and it's not scheming. There's no bad part about that. You're literally just getting it in front of people. I showed him how to do that. Like I'll tell anybody that. I'm literally talking about it on the podcast. It's not a secret. Like, I don't want someone to say thank you for that information or pay me for that information or anything. Like, use it. You know what I mean? Like, you just have to know what it means or how to work it. You know what I mean? And I learned it through like YouTube and just seeing when I'm scrolling on a Facebook group and I'm like, post from July 12th, 2019. God dang, who commented on this, Or like one of my old posts and somebody comment, and now all of a sudden I'm getting, is this available? And I'm like, that was 2 summers ago. What are you going through? It's not available. So this must be either Travis or Nick. It's my two people that have probably the most snakes for me. It's either Nick Heimer or Travis, but I can't see who you are. It's Nick. All right, Nick, go to the little post. You can click on the little hyperlink at the top, and I can see your name. Unless you're trying to stay in ghost mode, you don't want nobody to see your name. But yeah, Nick's a good guy. He really cares about the animals. I really like that. You can tell a lot of times the people who like the questions that they ask you, like how much they really care about the snakes. So at the top of the post, Nick, there's Facebook. If you're watching it from Facebook, I think it's a little hyperlink that says to allow StreamYard to use your information or something. You gotta click there and like click it, say okay. John, I'm working on buying at least one from you this year. I appreciate that. I may not have nothing you want, man. I this year I got a whole lot of stuff I'm gonna keep. Like, I gotta buy a couple racks just for holdbacks. Me and John
What was your biggest clutch that you're most excited about?
Like that I'm pairing for this year, or that I had this
that you've already hatched.
Whew. Man, that's a tough one.
Like, what's your number one snake that you've produced so far that you're like, man, that's the best of the best for that?
This is why we have racks full of snakes, because we can't choose.
I wish, like, this rack right here, this was like I had 3 levels free like about a month ago.
Yeah.
Now it's like I have maybe like 1 level left.
Trust me, man. It's crazy. Yeah, that's it, Nick. You got it. I can see you now. That works. Man, that's tough. I would have to say favorite that was produced in house would have to be dang, man, that's rough. Probably a calico clutch. It's pastel calico to a pastel inchy fire. It's supposed to be fire or yellow belly, but I'm pretty sure one of the babies got fire and yellow belly. It came from Derek DeMeyer.
Yeah.
And I know he knows his stuff. Like, he has just thousands of snakes. But it was
I think I have 2 from him.
Really? Pastel inchy. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He is pastel inchy fire or yellow belly? Orange dream. Let me go get that baby. There's actually two of them. I can't decide between the two. Hold on. All right, so when I hatched these, I was like, I don't even care. I'm keeping both of those. I don't even want to sex them. Well, I do want to sex them, but I don't care what their sex is. Hold on, this may be too bright. Oh, light's too bright too. God. There we go. So
Oh,
I
wow.
believe her to be calico for sure. Pastel, inchy. See the butterfly head stamp.
Yeah.
What I'm not sure on is if she's orange dream.
I would. Let me show you something real quick. That orange dream and pastel present weird, especially with yellow belly. So this girl right here,
Yep.
it's hard to see, is a pastel orange dream highway that we produced. Now, when she hatched, she was completely white. She didn't have
Dang.
any of this orange across her dorsal. So if yours is starting to get more color as it sheds,
Yeah.
chances are it might be orange dream. And that's the way it looked, like the yellow on the dorsal and how wide it is. Because the orange dream and pastel really cleans it up,
Yeah.
makes it more white.
See, I've got these two females, a male from these two females' dad from a separate clutch, and the dad of this clutch, and their line of OD and calico that's going on in there, like it completely like blows my mind. It's not like high OD and it's not nothing that something crazy, but like the OD pastel fire male that I have, he almost looks like Desert Ghost. Like he is bright. Now,
Oh, wow.
I have a fire yellow belly spot nose from Justin Kabelka that looks a lot like the side of this snake minus the calico. And this is why I say I think it is fire and yellow belly, possibly orange dream. It's definitely fire or yellow belly, but I think it's yellow belly if it's not fire. No pastel and also inchy. So inchy, calico,
Oh, wow.
yellow belly, or
I'd say
fire.
yellow belly's
Say
safe
yellow belly.
just because of the red flaming. But also
Uh,
Inchy and Fire does that too
yeah.
in Calico. That's nice.
But then you go down here to the tail. I mean, it's like lava down there, man.
Yeah. That's really nice.
No hex involved. So, but she's real nice. She's been a
Oh,
little
let me show
butt
you
of
this
a
one.
bottom feeder.
I'm probably gonna get eaten up by her.
She likes to kill her rats. She ain't no problem killing them. She just kills them and leaves them for dead. And Nick actually has a clutch mate, and I'll be excited to see how it looks
You're probably
later
gonna
on.
watch me get tagged. But this girl here,
Yeah.
oh, there she goes. GHI, orange, green, fire, yellow belly.
That's nice, man. See, I like that right there. GHI
So pretty much orange, green,
fire.
fire, yellow belly.
Nice. Oh yeah, that's real nice.
So pretty much what you have, just added GHI and minus Calico. But yeah, it's crazy.
Man, I'd like to see Cypress or Spot Nose in that right there, boy. That'd be nice.
Our goal is hopefully pair it to our asphalt, make a freeway or something else. Who knows? Maybe our OD gravel or OD something else and super OD combo out of it.
So you like the highway project pretty well?
Love the highway. This year though, we're kind of swapping around. We got our first asphalt. We have an asphalt het pod that's going to pretty much all of our yellow belly. That's going to our pastel ivory. My daughter's yellow belly. I want to say there's one or two other girls he's going to. I think both of our highways. So shoot for pavement.
Okay. Yeah.
Have some asphalt gravels.
And then the super asphalt is the what is it called? Oh no. What is the one? So you said there's the pavement. What dirt road? What's that? Is that the
Dirt road is like a spider.
Super dirt road is a spider in the super
I
asphalt.
want to say dirt road has spider in it. I don't know what the.
Right. I'm trying to think who that was that produced it. Was it Ryan?
I know what you're talking.
SSR.
Yeah.
Or Josh Jackie with the ball python shed. One of those. I'm sorry guys, I didn't see your comments here. Lekka was asking for solo so we can see it better. Hold on real quick and I'll pop that snake up here. I'm turning this light out real quick. I'd like to see yours. I know you just put it up, but I'd like to see yours.
Which one?
So I didn't even think about that. That last one that you showed me, the GHI.
Okay.
With OD in it. If you want to
I'll let you show yours first.
All right. So Nick asked, is there checkering on the belly of this one? She doesn't have any checkering per se on her belly, but there is like, that speckling coming up the sides. Let's see if I can get it focused.
So that's something I've noticed with Orange Dream too. It takes away the yellow belly speckling on the belly.
So you think that this one's OD?
I do. I would say yellow belly too, possible fire. Yeah.
And then there's the other one. See, call this one mallow.
I would say pastel OD. Yellow belly. Not sure about fire. Does it have the typical fire head stamp?
Oh, nope. Just got like a pastel inchy head stamp.
Okay.
You talking about like as far as the dot in the center of the head?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, she just got that little butterfly.
Well, ours doesn't either. Ours just has a clean head from the Orange Dream. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I have a yep. OD kind of takes that spot away because I've got an OD fire and he doesn't have that spot. But see, what's crazy is I also hashed out. I'm pretty positive it's a fire yellow belly in that clutch.
I have a fire yellow belly. I think I can show you.
Go ahead and show yours off.
All right, so this is the GHI Orange Dream Fire Yellow Belly. Let's say she has a clean belly.
Yeah, she's super nice. Super, super nice.
And her head is this backwards camera's throwing me off, but her head is completely just clean and orange, kind of tan. Let me get that fire yellow belly. You can see if it looks like yours.
See, this right here will be, you all tell me. You all tell me what you think. Because I'm pretty positive.
Here's the fire yellow belly. Oof. She's skittish.
See, that looks nothing like mine.
Here's the...
See, yours does. I see for sure a lot of the fire. Let me see the belly. Yeah. Huh. See, now you got me
Definitely
wondering.
has the fire head stamp.
Let me see it.
On her.
It's feisty. Oh, yeah. Yep. All right. So, check this out real quick. Is there nothing else at play there at that snake?
No, I think this is just plain fire yellow belly.
What was the pairing?
GHI fire to an orange dream yellow belly.
GHI fire to OD yellow belly.
Yep.
Huh.
We have. I hit pretty much every combo. I got a GHI fire, a GHI fire OD.
So what I have seen, I compared it to my fire yellow belly spot nose that I've got from Justin, and it looks like the alien heads are like really, really similar as far as no keyholes. There's the head stamp.
Yep.
You know, it's really like gold on the dorsal and around the alien heads. Let's see here. You think fire OD? I don't know, man.
I have a GHI fire orange. Yeah, GHI fire orange dream. It'd probably be a little. Let me see. It might be a little close. Just darker. This whole clutch is mean as piss. So, this is what I think. Head.
Yeah.
There's no head stamp because of the orange dream. And then, kind of see the pattern working around. Like you said, no keyholes or anything.
Yep.
But the GHI gives it that kind of darker yellow and then dorsal. Let me see yours again. What does the head look like? Does that have the head stamp for fire?
Yeah. Yeah. She's got to. If I can get the camera right. Come on, girl. Let me see your head.
Yeah, it might just be fire. Because one thing I noticed with all of my orange dream fires and whatever combo, it takes the head stamp completely out.
Yeah. I can't figure out my left from right.
Same here.
I don't know, man. I've got her listed as fire yellow belly. Man, when she shed for her second time, my buddy was in here and I said, hold up, I may have to keep this one because that was an intense change in one shed. And typically when they do that, 2 or 3 more,
Yeah.
they look even better. So
that's something else. Like I struggle with these ideas because this was an unexpected pairing because he was supposed to be a GHI Spark.
Oh, really?
And we didn't hit a Puma out of like 8 eggs. So he's either horrible odds, and we just hit like straight fire combos out of it, or he was a GHI fire. So definitely fire in it. Um, I'm not comfortable saying any of them are sparked, but other than ones that are definitely yellow belly.
Right.
And that's something like I asked Billy from Mutation Creation, got his input, and a few others, because I've never dealt with fire and orange dream and like that before together. So I wasn't sure what to look for and how to determine what's what.
Yeah. I love those ones. Like those two calico combos. That was like one of the first times that I was like, truly, I know the pairing. Let me label it. I don't care what they are because they ain't going nowhere. We'll find out in 2 years at least what mostly is in there. 2-3 years, depending if they eat right. And that's the fun part about this hobby, man. It's like, you know, that knowing that journey is there to be had. You know what I mean? So I'd say that was probably my most exciting clutch.
Those are good ones.
Yeah, that or my banana black pastel russo to um, a calico pastel disco. I produced some nice stuff in it as well. I love my boy. I had a I don't know, a weak moment, I guess, in my breeding career of like not keeping any snakes that I wasn't gonna be using. Like, I've got 2 levels in my 8 tubs that make up my males for this rack. So I was kind of to the point where I was like, I don't need these, and I ended up selling them. Romeo's his name. He's a banana black pastel russo, super stud of a snake, and my buddy Nick, he's actually got him, and then he ended up working out a deal with me and let me get him back, and I'm so thankful because it was the stupidest thing I ever done because that snake is awesome, and he'll lock with a rock if I wanted him to. So, he said, you going for some acid disco infernos at some point? You just threw in a banger gene in there, man. Like,
Yes.
I didn't even got acid yet. You working with that at all?
I don't. I don't have any acid or confusion. I love to have confusion, but
Yeah,
it's all about the lines. They're
yeah, for sure. I
interchangeable.
I mean, they both look nice. So
Yeah,
in comparison, whichever one was good quality without again falling across that line of, oh, this was cheaper just because it says acid, and the single gene, the one that is just an acid, doesn't look like the acid gene. Don't spend
yeah,
that money. If it's an acid for $1,200, but it's like a, what do you call it, low expression or
yeah.
something like that. No, it's not quality. Just wait, put another 1,000 with it, and buy the acid yellow belly for 2,200 or whatever. That actually looks like acid because um, it's been produced from quality. So
I don't know if this is a question you feel comfortable asking or me asking, or I mean, you don't have to answer it. What's the most expensive snake in your collection that you've purchased? Like, you don't have to say how much, but like, what is it?
I mean, I have no issues talking money to anybody or about anything. Let's see. The most expensive snake in my collection. That I've personally purchased, one snake was probably my most recent. No, I'm sorry. Well, I've got a 3-way tie. Well, 2-way tie, but they were both both breeders, Blade Clown and a Pastel Calico Disco, both 1,000. And then right underneath that, my most recent was Hypo Orange Dream Fire Calico from Bob Vu Hatchling. She was 900. So now
Nice.
I've got a more expensive. I've got a Black Pastel Fire Antic female breeder, 2,000 grams almost. That probably at that $2,200 value, but I didn't pay her for that for her. So
Yeah.
I'm not, you know. What about you?
So just like your Xanthic, I have that killer lesser leopard clown.
Oh,
I
nice.
got
Female?
I got male.
No.
He's breeding right now.
Sweet.
I actually got from Alyssa, uh, but um, I would say that I've like dollar for dollar that I've spent. It was the Lavender Blade Het Pod, 66% Het Clown.
Lavender Blade. Visual Lavender Albino Blade.
Yeah, he's easy to get.
Head Albino. You said,
No,
or
100% Het Pod,
okay, head pad.
66% or Pos Het Clown. So Holy Grail.
Nice.
And
Nice.
then I guess after that it would be
I know that one cost you a pretty penny. You got females to go
yeah.
with them?
Uh, I got two. So I think I paid 1,200 for him,
Mm.
and then well, my ivory pod. I bought an ivory pod and a pod 66% het lav from Michael Weaver, Dreamweavers Reptiles. He's down in Georgia. Uh, he gave me he worked out something with me on both of them, but I think I was still out
Mm.
like 15 or something.
Yeah.
And but Justin, he gave me he had my wife always wanted ultra male,
Yeah.
one of her favorite genes,
Oh yeah.
and he had this ultra male het pod and pod head ultra male. They're
Mm-hmm.
like dirt cheap, and so if anybody doesn't know, like on Canova's website now, that phone number is actually Justin's cell number.
Oh yeah.
So when you text it or call it, like you're
Mm-hmm.
literally legit texting Justin Kavelka.
Yeah.
I'd already bought it, I think one or two snakes from him. So like I shot him a text. I was like, hey, there's these there's this ultramel het pod on Morph Market. Like I want it.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right. He was like, he's like, it's funny that you just text me. He's like, because I just looked and there was like 4 messages on Morph Market
Mm-hmm.
about her. So like, that's something else. Like, if you want something, just go for it.
Yep.
And he was like, she has a clutch mate of that podhead ultramel. He's like, both of them are, finicky eaters. Um, he was like, are you still interested? And I was like, definitely. He's like, I've assessed cis feed, hatchlings I've had before, like a few of them. It's like I'm no stranger to finicky eaters, especially ball pythons. That's something that comes with the game.
Yeah. For sure.
And he gave me an excellent deal on both of them. So now we have an ultramel het pod and a pod het ultramel, and we're picking up their boyfriend Sunday.
Sweet.
Fire yellow belly double head ultramel pod.
Fire Yellow Belly Double Head Ultramel Pod. Man, that's gonna be awesome. I like OD and Ultramel. I'm currently working on double heads. I got a pairing. Actually, she's probably gonna ovulate in the next month or two. Um, but she's a pastel hypo, just bred to a normal ultramel. He's really good quality ultra male, so double hits there. And then Courtney with CD Exotics.
Yep.
She has a pairing, or I think she has a clutch that has either about to laid in the incubator, something along that nature, to where I'm waiting on her so I can pick up the double hits from her, and then I'll probably grab at least one female from her if she lets them go, and then that way I have a little bit of something to pair mine to in the future. And then I also thought about doing it to clown, but I like Exantic clowns better. And I've got an Exantic het hypo, 100% het hypo. So he's going to go to my blade clown this season for double het, 50% pos het hypo. So are you working with Exantic any?
No, we don't have any Exantic. That's if I had to pick between taking instead of black and white, I'd go like straight black.
Yeah.
Like Sumas or something like that. But
so John, you said he has a pinstripe het ultramale. Don't really know what to put to her when she's ready. I would go with a visual ultramale.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a nice quality ultramale. I have seen some ultramale pins that weren't that great, and then I've seen some that are off the scale. Pinstripe is one of those weird genes that I don't know, man. There's definitely that's one that's definitely has a noticeable not line difference, but quality difference, especially with DG. Have you ever noticed that some look like what are they called? Lemon heads, and then some of them are like bright. Have you noticed that with pinstripe? It's weird. That was probably one of the first genes that got me looking at Desert Ghost. But I really want to do Desert Ghost as antics, and eventually DG is antic hypo. So DG True Ghost will be
that's gonna be dope.
That and the Clown True Ghost, Clown Ultramale hypo, or Clown is antic hypo. Got Ultramale on the brain. So are you on more team Ultramale than Monarch, or do you like Monarch as well?
So it's funny, being good friends with Alyssa, she's Team Monarch all the way.
Yeah.
And she was like, you need to get on Monarch, I would say there's a place for both. There's considerable differences. Monarch definitely has a lot more burgundy color than Ultramale. So I might consider doing both at some point. I'm not going to say no to Monarch, but especially seeing what Tom's done with Monarch is crazy. But it's I'm not going to say no, but right now we're just going to focus on Ultramale. Like we're really trying to focus on certain projects. So that's one thing when you become a breeder, you're like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that, and you kind of have to narrow it down, to just like a handful of projects.
Yeah, you have to at least be able to make them intertwine in 2, 4, 5, whatever. And there's nothing wrong with this pairing. Like we're doing all these pairings, but they have no correlation until 5 years from now. There's nothing wrong with that, but I don't think it makes sense to have a bunch of pairings that don't have any correlation in 5 years. You know what I mean? You'll end up with, it'll snowball until you'll have to be like, whoa, let me tone it back. Daggone. Sorry, my wife.
Have you ever listened to Justin talk about his pairings and the way he does it? He doesn't think about next year or the year after. He thinks like 4 years down the road.
Yeah.
Where does he want to be? What does he want to make? So those are the pairings that he makes now for 4 years later, for that goal, not for a 2-year goal or 3-year goal. So I think, breeding is definitely a long goal, a long-term goal. Especially some of these pairings. My wife and I were talking about this one that we want to do, and she was like, "Yeah, that's like an 8 year like plan." I was like, "No, that was not." I was like, "Because we pair them this year and we get babies, and then you gotta." I was like, "Oh, we gotta wait till those babies grow up." I'm like, "All right, maybe 6 years, like on the low end." It's like,
Yeah.
but you're right, 6 to 8 years.
Yeah, it's funny. I commented on a guy's post, and I think that this is awesome. Shout out to John Jones because he has a aspiration to create a 7 visual recessive. All right, and um, I have got to find this post.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, we're thinking about a Quentin had like 5 visual, a 5 recessive visual gene animal, and I can imagine 7.
I found it. All right, so he he's put his deposit down to get his last piece of the puzzle, and it's a Xanthic clown ghost. For the terms, I'm gonna use hypo because there's also a desert ghost in this, but a
Gotcha.
Xanthic clown hypo, desert ghost, pied, ultramale, and lavender albino. Now, I said, man, kudos to you. Uh, that's a long 20-year project, and and he was like, it's definitely going to take forever. But how do you get 20 years? I was thinking 15 at the most. So I literally text walking down through my head on how this should play out. And I was like, well, the way I see it is making the 7 visual combo with these snakes. At least the first year, you're going to have to set one out because, seven,
Yeah,
you can't have,
doesn't divide.
4, right. You're going to at least set one out, meaning that you'll have 3 pairings that are 100% double het for 6 out of the 7 genes. And let's say you keep 1.3 from all of those 3 pairings. Following year, you'll have a pair of the 7th gene to produce double het combo, and possibly have to repair some from the previous year because maybe you may be male heavy or female heavy. And I go on to walking down this line of him getting super lucky because this is the ideal situation of you producing a clutch every year, which
Hitting the odds.
doesn't always happen,
Yeah,
hitting the odds of producing um, visuals when you're pairing a 1.2 uh, 100% het Exantic Ghost to 100% het Exantic Ghost of hitting visuals, all right, and then um, pairing those visuals up to a different visual, everything, or so like the Xantic Clown or Ghost to or Xantic Hypo to the DG Clown, you're gonna have all quad hits 100%. But now try pairing those up in 2 to 3 years and hitting at least one visual of a quad hit to quad hit, even though it's 100%. I don't even know what the odds of that is, but if that was me, I would at least want 1.5 of all of them quad hits. Like,
oh yeah.
so at the end of it, I was like, man, I'm at 17 years in my head, and this is everything has went right. No mistakes have been made uh, by you or the snakes haven't decided to just be ball pythons for 1 year and throw a wrench in your plans. And the odds gods have been on your side heavily. You're gonna at least see 20 before you are able to produce a 7 visual. I mean, let's just think about it. 20 years ago, what were bananas? All right.
I know. Even spiders, like listening to Brian Barczyk talk about the first spider he got not even 20 years ago, paying like 30,000 for it.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's wild, like to think about uh, these combos that even recessive genes that we're paying $2,000, even $1,000 were, 5-6 years ago, $20,000-$30,000.
Yep. It's crazy. It's crazy, thinking about the conversations that some of these guys had that, we look up to as pioneers with their wives, and the conversations that we have in comparison to the conversations that they have. Us saying, "Hey, honey, I'm probably gonna take about 1,500 to the show." What? No. In your case, your wife's like, when I walk up to Justin Kabelka's table, just stand back. All right, I got this. But anyway, us telling our wives that, or whoever, that we're gonna spend this much money in comparison to Barcheck talking about, all right, so we're gonna take out this second mortgage, and 150,000 is gonna go over to Africa. My boy got me. He's gonna send me a whole bag of some stuff, and it's gonna take off. Like, I couldn't imagine that. Like, what that he's gotten burned before, and somebody had ran off on, but he probably got to a point to where he had a good connection, and he no longer worried about that. But that's crazy to think about, man. FNA says, why not both to the Ultramel Monarch? I mean, your next comment says it all. Ultramel is cheaper, and it's the same. So, like, years ago, Ultramel was out, and then when Banana hit, everybody ran for Banana because bananas could be produced faster because it is a incomplete dominant gene, and Ultramel takes longer to produce. It's a recessive. So, that being the case, everybody dropped Ultramel and went with Banana. Monarch is just the rarity of them. There's not that many more, people working with it right now. Now, like you said, they are more burgundy, more of a saturated red. But at the same time, man, they just unlocked. I've got a Ultramel, and he's not, of course, burgundy Monarch, but he's pretty dark Ultramel. I'd love to see him in OD. I love this boy. I'll probably never get rid of him, even though I plan on making Ultramel. Oh, wrong way. Ultramel Hypo.
How big is he?
It's weird. I haven't weighed him in a while. I'd say somewhere in the 1,000-gram range. Somewhere in the 1,000-gram range. Let's see here.
Our Ultramel's like that. I was just trying to.
Let me bring you back up. Hold on, real quick.
Oh, I'm sorry. No,
you good. You good. Go ahead. Oh, see, man, you just put mine to shame. Yours is way darker. How old is it?
Just almost a year old. Okay. She's like 600 grams, 700.
Yeah.
That's why I was just curious about aging, like how old.
Well, he is. Let's see. This past August, he was 1. So he's a little bit over 1 now. No. Right? Man, hold on. I'm lying. I'm way off. He's a 2019, late 2019 baby. So it's crazy because I've had him since a hatchling. This August he would have turned 2.
Okay. Yeah, so she's just over 1. This is the one we got from Justin. Her and her sister.
But it's het pied, right?
Yeah.
Het pied and 66%.
No, that's the other one. This one's just 100% het pied.
And then you got a pied this het Ultramel.
Right.
Nice.
It's just nice to see the difference, like in some of these genes, because it's not often, I get to talk to somebody, that has similar stuff in their collection, and you can just see the variations.
Yeah, I think that every you know every breeder kind of has a little bit different eye for what they like, but you'll find, it's like I was talking to Hiss and Tail. She was telling me what she had and this and that, and I was like, okay, so you like the super completely white or super completely black, and then a crazy pattern. That's what you're after, and you can kind of tell what they will go for and what they have, if their collection is refined and they're not just like, so I seen the snake and I had to rescue it. I couldn't leave it there, and I got this snake for $50. What do you think it is? And they're like really refining their collection. Now I don't knock people for rescuing snakes, and I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I'm just saying if they have a refined collection, you can kind of tell what they would like and where they are on the scale. You
So,
got
like,
something you got to
your
show off there?
calico is this was a calico we got last year as a hatchling. It's just pastel calico,
That's just pastel calico.
just pastel
Wow.
calico. Um,
Nick, if you're
and
still
see
watching,
your
this is what.
calico, I was like, that's a nice calico. That's a calico I would want to have in my collection.
Yeah.
And when I see calico with sugar, it's like a really high white sides and nice flaming. Um, you talk about refining your collection and getting kind of the best stuff, spending that extra money. Um, that's one of them. And this also came from Melissa at Full Throttle. It's nice having a breeder that's close to you that produces high quality stuff that when it comes out of the egg, you see it before anybody else. You're like, I want that. Oh, wow. Yeah.
So this is that mom to that calico clutch that I showed you. I have a
Oh, wow.
feeling that, and I don't know, and I probably won't know unless I don't pair her to. I'm repairing them again, but unless I pair her to my Inchy Highway, but I have a
Yeah.
feeling that she may be yellow belly, and that's where I'm seeing the fire and yellow belly in that clutch.
Yep.
But we'll see, because I mean, this is like she's like neon yellow at some points, like yours is pastel calico, but it's like, is that it? But at the same time, I've had pastel calicos come from where this calico line comes from that just look really really nice for two jeans. And Nick, if you're watching, that's how your pastel calico will probably look as well. So we got some new people jumping in here. Jack, what's going on? From Ink Flicted Exotics. I like me some calico. Yes, sir. It is
Yeah.
good. Let's see.
I'll tell you somebody I love that I've always wanted. Mike Wilbanks, his sugar line, I
Mm-hmm.
think is like top notch. Like there was
Yeah.
a fire yellow belly sugar he produced like 2 years ago that was just like it was bomb. And I wish like 2 years ago dropping $300 on a snake was a lot.
Yeah.
Now it's like $300. That's a steal, okay,
Yeah.
but
Trust.
coulda, woulda, shoulda.
I can look back at some messages from even 6 months ago, man, and there's some regrettable passes. I had this one guy who was in a group that I know. He had a acid fire yellow belly. The best, I mean, better examples than I've seen. Do you know who Steve Morse is?
Yeah.
And no, not knocking them, but I've seen them. Him and Josh Jackie have produced some acid combos. Is it Josh? Yeah, that are fire acid yellow belly. And this one that he had, I think, I think he said he got it from Josh Jensen, the founder of Acid, and he only wanted $1,200 for it, and it was a female. And
Ooh.
I said, I'm gonna have to pass. Dummy. He was just getting out.
Yeah.
And he had two snakes left, and they were both higher end snakes, for the most common people. And it was just it was that point in time, and I was like, well, I just ain't there yet. You know, I gotta be smart about it. And stupid. I should have got it. I mean, I knew that I wanted to be in the asset project at least with a trio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And nah, I messed up. It is. Nick, yeah, man. I figured that was you. That pastel calico should get better with every shed. Just get better and better and better. Um, so we got. Oh, I missed you, Alexandria. Appreciate you for tuning in. Make sure we did not miss anybody here. So FNA Balls said they got 5.3. Whoa, 100%
Whoa,
quad het ghost pied albino G stripe. Wow.
that's nice.
So quad het to quad het. This is nice right here. 4 recessive, 100% 4 recessive quad
One
het,
and 256.
256.
Dang.
So you gotta imagine how lucky you would be to hit 100% quad
Yeah.
het to 100% quad het, one of those visual recessives.
So that's funny because our quint het pairing we're thinking about doing, Morph Market wouldn't even calculate it. I think it was like over the 1,000,
Yeah,
like 1 something thousand.
yeah. Man, when we are like 10 years from now, when like the normal pairing is pastel inchy hypo clown 100% DG 100% het desert ghost
Yeah.
100% het pied, people are not going to be able to have conversations talking about what is the percentage without being like, hold on real quick. You know, because it just like, and you're like literally almost every pairing will probably be a world's first. Like
Yeah.
there's so, and that's what's crazy, man. There's just so many different combinations when you talk about thousands of genes going together with hundreds of genes for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of combinations, which can be combined with other hundreds and hundreds of thousands of combinations. I mean, come on, it's crazy. The odds of getting a double visual is 1.1 to 5, triple visual 1 out of 20.
I take those odds.
Yeah.
1 in 20. And imagine if you had 10 eggs, you got a 50-50 shot almost of hitting
Yeah.
that triple.
So double visual is 1 to 5, triple visual is 1 to 20, and it jumps to
Quad is
1 to
250.
256. Really? Wow, that's crazy. I'm not even like, I don't know.
I don't math well all the time, so
Yeah, man, I'm in school right now, and I've like messed up so bad in saving math to the end, to where I'm like trying to figure out how I can end early or something. Not, but it's general, so it's like you can stop, but you're not gonna get what you want without doing
yeah.
math. And I'm like, man, I can't even take the stuff that like helps me. Like I can't do business math because I can't score well enough on a placement test to skip what it call like 101. You know,
Yeah.
me and my buddy always make jokes like we can never take the 101 classes. Can we get the math 100 please? Because it is never easy for us calculating something up when we're doing like rat fees. We're like, how much do we have in the account and what are we gonna do? And we're trying to add it up. We're both like, we don't do math well. All right, so let's see here. So do you know how many snakes you have with hatchlings and all?
Oh yeah. We got 50 snakes, 3 samboas, and with our hatchlings, we have a total of 84.
Nice. Yeah, for
Yeah.
some reason I don't know where my count went off, but in my head I was almost to 80, and I recounted the other night. Um, and updated my Hertville, which is the app that I use, and I'm at 65. But that's not counting like 8 or 9 hatchlings that are already in the rack, and then 8. Well, hell, I guess that would put me at almost 80. I guess that's what I was counting. I don't know. It was late. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, but my buddy works third shift, so he always keeps me up late. What app do you use? That brought up a question for me as far as, well, I'm assuming you use an app. Do you use anything to track your snakes?
So I just downloaded, what's that one popular one?
Husbandry Pro?
Yeah. And I couldn't figure it out. So my wife, I don't know if I'm like, I can go back every year.
Yeah.
She keeps everything down on pen and paper. Well,
nice.
This isn't the full breeding book.
Yeah.
But so I can go back every snake since we've purchased it or hatched it for the past 2 years. I can tell you every weight, every month it's been.
Nice.
We weigh every month, and so we can track their weights. Especially, it comes into play really during your breeding females, because you can tell when they kind of start to go off food and become gravid, and track their weight, through laying, and then post lay.
Yeah.
And then you can track it leading up to the next breeding season.
Yep.
So she's really particular and meticulous with record keeping on pen and paper. She has notebooks. I couldn't really figure out Husbandry Pro. I'm pretty sure if I took the time, sat down to do it, it'd be easy. But I bought a year subscription, and I used it but once.
Yeah.
So
there's definitely a learning curve to it, and that's why I took Hertville 100 for $25 for the year, and I got Husbandry Pro free trial while I learned, because I looked in Husbandry Pro and I seen how it could be challenging real quick, real fast, but I like the professional look of it and how it gets us specific as to say that this snake is in the top row, third, or first row column. I can't remember how it's third tub, whatever. So it's super specific. And it's super professional looking. Like I really like it. But I use Hertville now, and it does the job. It gets it done. All these little labels here were all printed off from Hertville. And like right now, I currently have like a paper clip, folder clip, or whatever you call these little black things, that I'll take the Velcro sticker off of the male's tub and put it clip to the female's tub, and that way I know he's in there. And don't forget about it.
We kind of do. You can see, like, we have like this one. Like my wife, she has these. That with Velcro, so the male, we just take it off the male tub and stick it on the female tub.
Yep. Man, I got so aggravating looking for those little pouches that I gave up ever finding those. The one place I did find them, they wanted like $6 for 5 of them, and I was like, "There's no way.
Jeez.
There's no way." So you know what I did?
I think.
Go ahead.
I think she got them on Amazon.
Really? I always forget to go to Amazon for like the dead giveaways, like stuff like that I'm having a hard time figuring out. But I just ended up printing off these from Hertville, and they have a little section where you can print off. It says photo. It gives you the QR code. It'll tell you a little picture of the snake. It'll tell you what the genes are at the bottom, the name, if I have a name for it, and I usually do the combo if there's a combo up top. And it's professional looking, and I put a little Velcro thing to do it on the tub, because I wanted something where if I wash the whole tub, and when I wash stuff, I got a sink over in here. I'm spraying with my hose. I've got the retractable hose that Alyssa has.
Yeah,
I've got the same one. When I see, excuse me, I got excited. I got choked up when I seen that. I was like, oh no, I've got to have that. That is unbelievable. I cannot believe I've been trying to put my tub underneath the faucet head. I've got to have that. So I bought that, and I'm like, I want to wash these tubs and not worry about my label getting wet. So I ghetto eliminated it because I wasn't buying a laminator. There's no reason to spend money on a laminator, in my opinion. I just took some packaging tape and laid it out strips, and then on the back strips, flatten them, together, and then cut it around. Just leave a little small lip. Boom.
It
Worked.
works.
Yes, sir. And it looks good. All right. So, all right. Well, that's it's definitely a handful of snakes there, man. I joke all the time about like needing to get to 100. That's what I need for my feel good spot. But sometimes I feel like overwhelmed. But it's always because I get out of my schedule. When I stick to like, oh, I know this needs to be done, and I stay on top of it, it's never that bad. But when I slack off, that is when I feel it pile up. I get a pile full of my wife message. What are you doing? Snake dishes, watching hashing tubs. I got 30 of them to do.
I can't imagine. Like, last year we had 4 clutches of 32 eggs. This year, 8 clutches of 64 eggs. And going into this coming up season, we're going to have 15 clutches, hopefully.
Shit.
So we're literally almost doubling
Yeah.
each time. And it's like, you're talking about the upkeep and stuff. Man, I with 64, we built these ourselves. Went and bought the
Okay.
PVC and then bought the FB 8 tubs.
Yep.
Love the FB 8s. And can imagine that, having to build 2 more to hold like all the hatchlings and cleaning. Hatchlings are worse than the regular ones. You talk
Man.
about, man, you could clean it today and
Yes.
tomorrow there's
Yep.
poop and pee in it.
That's exactly what I'm saying, man. The hatchlings, they require the most attention.
Yeah.
What's your feeding schedule like with hatchlings? Is it the same as adults or?
No, so we feed all of our normal snakes, usually on during a rack clean out, like on a Monday or something like that.
Yeah.
And then on like Wednesday or Tuesday or one of those days, we'll feed the hatchlings.
Okay.
Because it's just a lot to feed all 50 of
Oh
these
yeah,
to
for sure.
keep up with the hatchlings too. Because my wife,
See you later,
I
John.
don't say
Have a good
she's
night.
meticulous. She has hatchling cards. So whenever you buy a snake, you get the hatchling card. It has every meal they've had,
Nice.
every shed they've had. So you get all of that the weights right here as we weight them.
So, uh, Vistaprint. I gotta get it. I don't know if you've ever seen these before, but I gotta give you my tidbit on those because I actually stole the concept from somebody else. Well, it was for free. They was giving it away, and I took the advice. Um, but I made Clutch ID cards, and they look like this. And Vistaprint has these. I got 100 of these for like $30, something like that.
Oh wow.
Year Clutch ID. I mean, of course, I designed this, but it's a
Yeah.
glossy front. Sorry, it's a glossy front,
Yeah.
and I use Sharpie on the front, and I write all that whenever the clutch is laid, and how many eggs survive at the end, and then when I cut, I'll put it there for the hatch date, um, or if it's that day I cut and they don't all that none of them come out, then I'll put the next day. Hatch date I usually do for whichever one comes out first. I'm not doing that. Well, this one was technically born yesterday. This one was born
Right.
today. Now, and then on the back it will have. God dang it! If I can figure out where the camera goes, there you go. Morph, gender, date of birth, and feedings, if it was successful or not, what it was fed, all of that. Um,
Yeah.
and these seem to do well. But this is a job in its own, and Sometimes it's a pain to keep up with.
See, the only thing that we've done this to print, we did our seller cards.
Oh man, those are badass. I like that. So what? That's like your business card.
No, so we have business cards, but if you purchase a snake, it has this, which is
Oh
like a glossy front.
yeah,
And then on the back it says, "Thank you for your support.
sweet.
Please tag us on social media." And it says, love your reptile. We would appreciate your review and like Morph
Oh
Market."
yeah, yeah. That's nice. That's nice. Yeah, and then on those clutch cards, I'll also keep one from each clutch. So like this is
Yeah.
my record base database. I also have notes too. I got an iPhone and I keep it in the notes like grid on the clutches and the dates and all that. It's nice. I do like that. I hate like trying to remember. I still have my original notepad from where I first started breeding, and like a few weeks ago, I looked in it, and you remember when you first started watching YouTube videos, and you're like, "That's a dope clutch. I gotta write that down. I want that in my collection." And I was looking through these jeans that I was putting together, and it was clear that really had not looked into the market of some of these jeans that I was, and nor did I know what I was going to be able to afford because Lord have mercy, I had some confusion, Batman, yellow bellies, and and some acid butter clowns and all this other stuff going on here. And I'm like, man, I'm not Miguel Garcia. I need to stay in my lane. Uh,
Yeah.
M-Tip Reptiles, what's going on? All right, man. I got I guess one more question here. We've been going for 2.5 hours. Don't seem like that
Yeah.
long. It never does. I think my longest one was with Bishop Ball Pythons, and it was like 3.5. But I also went like almost the first hour by myself because now I ask everybody, "Are you on Eastern Standard Time?" And he thought I was on his time zone, and or he thought he was in Eastern time zone, and he was really in Mountain, or I don't know. He was an hour behind me. So when he got on, he was like, "Yeah, what's up? I'm here. I'm about to log in." And I'm like, "Yo, you late?" And he's like, "No, I'm on time. What are you talking about?" Uh, I was doing good, man. Just chatting it up, chatting it up. Um, so, what are some tools and resources that you could recommend to people that are looking to expand their knowledge and get as you know? Get some of the knowledge that you've been able to get and get to where you are, um, and also as far as people that are already breeding and maybe want to you know better their operation or breeding standards or whatever you may have it. What are some tools and resources that you may be able to recommend?
Uh, I would say for us, for me in the beginning, my wife and I, it was like the school of hard knock YouTube.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
get on there, you see Chris Hardwick, Justin Cabelka were some of the original ones that we kind of started watching, and really made us fall in love with it. But then I would say if you can find a breeder local to you that might be just a little bit ahead of you, or even if y'all are in the same um, uh,
Local group.
like, yeah, like I would say like on the same the same collection level,
Oh
where you
yeah,
can
yeah, yeah. I
build
got
off
you. I
one
got you.
another.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. I got you.
just bounce your ideas off one another. I would say overall, the reptile community, especially the ball python community, is super welcoming. Uh, don't be afraid to message people. And I've had a couple of run-ins with two big breeders, well-known breeders, and I sincerely wanted their advice. And I was like, by one, I was told, Google it.
Wow.
And I was like, what? Um, and I heard somebody say like that. that a lot of these breeders don't care about you until you spend thousands of dollars with them, and then they're like, oh yeah, they're important.
Yeah.
But the one person that I know that without a doubt, it don't matter if you had your first ball python or you have a 500 of them, is
Can I
Justin.
guess? Oh, what?
Oh,
That was
sorry.
not my answer. No, you're good.
Really?
I'm glad I didn't guess because I would have looked stupid. I
Who'd
was
you
gonna say
say?
Billy. Man,
Oh, okay.
I was 3 months in and messaged Billy, and he was like, "Yeah, I did what I tell people not to do anymore." And I sent him a picture of me popping a snake, and he said, "It looks female to me," and I was like, he really responded to me. What is life? I did not think that I mean, I thought for sure he was going to look and say, this dude's got like 275 followers. He does not know what he's doing. And yeah, it was pretty nice to see that. But yes, I mean, Justin's one too. Um,
I mean, like I had a question about twice now with a couple of my hatchlings. Um, And I went to him and I was like, hey, I'm not sure. And he literally, gave me his advice and helped me, walk me through stuff. So um, to be as big as he is, he's super humble and uh, still takes every, every text, every phone call pretty much himself.
yeah.
And he even said on one of his vlogs that the reason why he does that is because he literally touches almost every snake, in his facility. He's part of the feeding, he's part of everything. So it's easier for him to answer a customer's question than Chase or somebody else who may not have that in-depth knowledge of every single clutch, every single snake like he
Mm,
does. So it's also to me that with him having hundreds and hundreds of snakes that and as busy as he is, that he'll still just take the time to be like,
yeah.
hey,
Yeah. I thought it was the number to the facility. And I seen that fire spot nose yellow belly male. And I knew that I wanted him. Especially at that price point. There was no doubt about it. Like all I needed was for somebody to let me know the PayPal, whatever information, so I can send it over. I don't care if you've not seen my message. I'll send it to you, and if somebody else is buying it, you can send it back. But I want to go ahead and get my payment in because I know it wasn't gonna last more than the hour that it was on there. And
mm-hmm.
when I called and it went to his voicemail, and I was like, this dude's really got his phone number on here. Um, he never called me back, of course, because they ended up messaging me, and it could have been him. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's probably Chase, but I still I thought that was awesome. But prime example here. Tony says, "Yeah, not throwing shade at any breeder or naming them, but where I got that killer queen bee clown, so super pastel, well, super pastel, lesser spider, het clown. He was kind of the same way with it and said with the Google it, but he said YouTube it. That's why I asked you, Mel, everything to make sure I was doing everything right. And this is not a snake that was purchased from me. I'm still gonna make sure that he's set up right. Like I don't want I don't want a snake to suffer
Oh
because
yeah,
of a moment of ignorance and like don't get me wrong, like I do get aggravated at the people that do this. Uh which way do I go? This way? Okay. Now what? Now what? Instead of, hey, so I went over here and I came back and I did this and I can't figure out why I keep coming this way and I can't, can you help me out a little bit? You know what I mean? Meet me
yeah.
halfway. Show me you're willing to do something. When you message me, tell me what you have done and why you feel like it's wrong or what's going on. Um, you know, but like there are some people that they know like it's no problem for them to message me and say, "What do you think about this? I'm thinking about buying these." because I know what their intentions are and I know how much they care about the animals and this and that. But if I don't know you like that, when you message me and say, what should I buy to pair to this? That is an annoying question because that there's a lot of answers to that. What do you like? What's your budget? And then you
Yeah.
just asking me, it just makes me feel like it's like me messaging Justin. So like, hey, in like 15 years, I want to be just like you. So what can I buy today that can make me Canova in 15 years? You know what I mean? Like that's what it sounds like. Uh, and I mean, I get like people thinking like you have an eye or like obviously you've done something right. So help me out, help your brother out or whatever. Like that, like I can talk about this intently because no one's gonna make me feel like I don't care about people or that I'm not gonna help people because I've got hell. I probably 10 out of the 13 people that's watching here will tell you that I'll message you in the middle of the night and help you out. But people have got to at least want to do their part to get to where um, they can say I met you halfway. I'm gonna breed snakes, but I don't want to touch them. Will you come pair them up for me? Also, what is a thermostat?
Yeah. Like, so, you know, real quick, you said like,
That's my buddy
key
Garrett.
thing,
He's being funny.
I talked about Justin, but like, when I mentioned local breeders, like Alyssa at Full Throttle, like by far, hands down. Like, I mean, I'm texting her, like I remember, and I felt so bad. So it was like our third clutch ever, and I was separating the eggs, and I ripped one.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And I
Yeah,
called her. I was like, Alyssa, it's like, what do I do? And I didn't even think about it because it was Craig's birthday, her husband.
yeah,
But she answered the phone and walked me through, like,
yeah.
putting on a piece of tape or, like that. Not, don't panic.
Yep. I
So, I mean,
Go ahead. I'm
she's
sorry.
gone like above and beyond. I feel like most people would. Like even like 11 o'clock at night, like I might have a question, like or I'll shoot her a text, and she'll respond back. So
Yeah. Reminds me of like my wife sometimes. She just like I can feel the staring that's happening because we were mid Netflix show and here I am 30 minutes deep in a conversation with somebody about what to do now because they have a moldy egg or they're trying to get their egg boxes together or they didn't expect this female to lay and she's laid and they're freaking out on what to do or whatever the case may be. um but to me, like I am in like I'm submerged in this person, like in helping them.
yeah,
um and it's other situations that doesn't even revolve around eggs too that may happen. And I'll get off the phone and I'm like, oh, sorry about that. And she's like, who was that? And I'm like, such and such. She's like, I've never heard of them. And I was like, yeah, they just needed help. uh, and they're like, oh, okay. And they just call you. I was like, yeah, well, it was on Facebook, call, so they can just, if they can message me, they can call me. And she's looking at me like, that's weird, but I'm like, if it helps, it helps. I can't tell
yeah.
you how many times she's walked in and she's like, who you on the phone with? You just talking to them like
I've
you
gotten
know
that
them.
before.
I'm like, hey, if they didn't have some questions, they have some questions. It is what it is. So, all right, man. Well, that's pretty much everything that I have. Question wise, does anybody in the comments have anything for Seth before we go? Make sure I don't miss any comments. M-Tip Reptiles cracking up at Gary's comment. Excuse me. Yes, do your homework at first, and then come and like I hate. I'm not like a a big ranter per se. I mean, I'm not afraid to say what I feel, but like I don't want to deter anyone that may be watching that's thought about asking a question that you feel like is simplistic and you don't know where to even start. Do not feel like you shouldn't ask a question. There is no question is a dumb question. You know, just like when you got that answer, Google it. Um, there, like, there's no need for that. Um, but at the same time, like, you can clearly tell, or maybe those people don't know. Maybe they don't know that they aren't doing their part. Maybe they don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, my 9 times out of 10, I still help them. But after I get done, I'm like, dang man, I wish they would just like do their part. You know what I mean? Like, meet me halfway. You know, have you ever heard of YouTube? I mean, $1 billion platform. Literally, you can YouTube anything, and at least it's not that, because I'm sure you know a little bit about what you were asking about. You just wanted the professional opinion from
Yeah.
someone who knew exactly what they were doing, right?
And I can't really tell you what it was. The question
And
was,
that's cool.
without
That's
giving
cool.
away who the breeder is.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. But I'm just
But
saying,
yeah, it was.
I I have I have the I know that just talking to you here that you at least did enough to if they came back with something that revolved around that, you could carry a conversation with them, right? You
Yeah.
say, well, you know, this, and this, but I was thinking about this, and this, or whatever the case may be. But instead, you know, the people that
Well,
get me,
I'll give you a base of what it was. It was I had some snakes, one gene and then one super gene. And I'm like, how do you know which is the basic gene and which is the super? Because literally the basic might be just almost as good as the super version of the gene.
okay,
I'm like, can you help me distinguish the two? Like, how do you tell the base from the super? And I'll Google it. I was like, like, all right.
I I'm gonna go as far as to say I bet you couldn't find that on Google.
I
Not
couldn't. So I
not
tried.
Google.
I ain't gonna
Yeah,
lie, I tried.
yeah. FNA, appreciate you for tuning in. Um, I don't, man, like I don't think that is a good answer to a lot of most snake questions, because I don't know, man. It's just not like Google can take you down some places where you're on sites that you're like, this is a legit site, and then they're like, yeah, ball python's about a 78-degree hot spot, and you want to have reptile carpet, and make sure that you
You
feed them
got a heat rock.
grasshoppers, yeah, and heat rock, and they should start out on mouse pinkies. And you're in the pet store talking about, can I have a mouse pinky? You know, so
And PetSmart's like, yeah, say less.
yeah. Here's how not to care guide. Just take one of these or two, pass them to your friends, and see how many snakes we can sell, and then they, unfortunately, sorry, die on you, because they've given you the wrong information. Mm-mm-mm. Oh man, like I said, anybody who ever watched this or is listening or watching, uh, at least for us two, me and Seth, we definitely don't mind answering questions.
Nope.
Just come with your due diligence or your part that's due as far as being able to carry a conversation. And when we ask you, or you get asked, well, have you tried this or that? Um, and I get like I'm not gonna bash somebody for them thinking that they are reading the temperature of the hot spot and the cold side, or you know, like the spot, with a temperature gauge rather than a infrared thermometer or temperature gun.
Hmm.
Um, like those type of things are minuscule, but to say, well, it feels warm it feels, or I got the light like the I don't know. There's a lot of information out there for someone not to know those, at least those things. So
Yep.
you got anything to add, man?
No, it's been real. I definitely appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. It's been nice getting to know you and chit and chat with you for the
Yeah.
almost last 3 hours. Well,
Yep.
definitely 3 hours because we tuned in about uh 15 minutes before the show. So it's been as good as I thought it was, a little bit better, or as good as I thought it was gonna be, because I've watched some of your lives and I know you're a funny guy, and definitely have some nice stuff in your collection. And I like talking to people who are interesting, funny, and have nice stuff in their collection. Um, and you seem to have like a similar eye, like I do, for the same type of stuff. As far as genetic wise and what you're going for, I don't have any rainbow in my collection, but that would be nice. Rainbow, Centennial, and paint are one that I like hardly ever see anymore.
Yeah.
People
We're
messing with.
bringing it back.
Yeah. So, but anyway, man, I won't keep you any longer. I don't know if you gotta get up too early to work, but I don't have to be work too early, but I do have to be up. So.
I work night, so
Oh, okay, so this is your morning then, huh?
yeah. So I mean, like this, like I've been off for the past 6 days. I go in tomorrow night.
Are you week on, week off? No.
No, I just happen to work a few extra off days in because we had that show this past
Okay.
weekend.
Oh, okay. I got you. I got you. That'd
Yeah.
be nice. I wish I could like work nights through just during the hunting season, and be able to get off work and go straight hunting. Um, but unfortunately, the stuff that breaks, people are usually there. I'm a maintenance technician, so
Okay.
um, for Kentucky Utilities, and when they're in the office and that light is out over their head, they want it changed. And when the one is too bright and it's giving them a headache, they want it taken out. So I've got to be there.
Yeah.
And I'll take it. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna drop you backstage and say goodbye to everybody. And I'll be back there in just a second if you want to hang out for a minute.
All right. Yeah. Thanks.
See you, man. Let's see. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate all you all. Excuse me. I appreciate all you all for tuning in tonight for this week's episode of Cold Blooded Talks. Same time next week. I don't have a guest yet because who was coming on is not going to be able to make it. So, if you'd like to be on next week's Cold Blooded Talks podcast, message me. Maybe we can talk. Maybe we can do something. But you got to be able to talk. If you can't talk, I'm sorry, you can't be on. And you need to be honest with yourself, because you will be asked questions and you will need to talk. But I appreciate y'all again, and you all have a good night. Stay safe.